2. I am your host, Devious Dave Rose, and today we shall be discussing the Waukesha, I always mispronounce that, the Waukesha terrorist hate crime, and the Ahmaud Arbery verdict. Thank you so much for all those that have chosen to spend their time with us here today. We've got Is the Costanza, Van Edwards, Clam Baked, Gabe Rodriguez, and I'm sure many more will be filtering in. There's Jay Diz. He might have some disagreements with what I have to say today, but that's fine. He is, after all, a member of the Black Caucus, community Black Caucus. But we have a few things to discuss today, and it seems to be that I'm the only person that seems to be talking about this. Seems to be that I'm the only one with the courage to do so. And yet we have all these people, well, actually, just Cronin, who are talking shit online yet again. I wasn't even too sure if I was going to stream today. I was actually thinking some Kerbals or stuff, but just reading Cronin's fucking stupid tweets forces me to address these sorts of things. And, well, I'm coming to you with the harsh truth, and not the bald edition that Frank offers there on Drew's show every week. But, no, actual full-headed hair, beautiful locks, harsh truth. And I'm just so tired. I'm so fucking tired of this shit. I'm so tired of fucking seeing Cronin continue to fucking radicalize people with his fucking bullshit and somehow claim some sort of moral high ground. What am I getting? Some sort of email? What the fuck? Whatever. Okay, so First of all, Dave Rose gets proven right quite often. But do you think Dave Rose likes to be proven correct on the failing economy, about the foreign problems? I mean, we could go on and on. We've heard Dave Rose rant about this stuff. But Joe Cronin, as of 2 hours ago, said, I'm 2 for 2 on trials. McMichael Bryan trial guilty and Rittenhouse verdict not guilty. Thanks, 100% for me. Easy to see if you watch the evidence. You fucking coward piece of shit. The lines are open for you if you have the guts to fucking even call in, which I doubt. But the lines will be open for you, and I will even mute myself. But do you remember about a year ago when I was still working with you? Well, over a year ago, because this event happened in August 2020. Do you remember how I was well appraised of that? How I was literally watching this live happen? How, despite you and Leah's fucking super liberal fucking slant on this, kid shouldn't have been there, he crossed state lines, he had an illegal weapon. So you touted all the fucking media lines, Joe. You did. As did your wife. And, well, very similar to 1984, which you always seem to quote but have no comprehension of. I doubt you even read the book. You probably heard the audio, book, but that's all pathetic on its own. You seem to just shift from one opinion to the other and pretend like the past didn't happen. I was the one that got castigated on your show, on basically all these issues where it might be, racially charged. But that's because the media is doing that. And in the end, when you go back to what Dave said, although it sounded harsh at that point, he gets proven correct. Again. And it's not out of hate. It's about, I can actually see the fucking evidence. Now, you're fucking talking about, I just see the evidence. Well, I saw it that night, live, on multiple streams. And from that point on, I knew exactly what happened. And I was consistent, again, Mr. Consistent, for over a year with this particular issue. I held my ground because I knew what happened. But only recently, when it becomes convenient for you to somehow justify what? The self-defense with your stupid fucking crossbow? Seriously? And you're going to jump on this, acting as if you know? Stick to what you're good at, or at least semi-good at. Just fucking talk wrestling. Don't, I've told you this in the past. And if you're going to keep doing this, at least come on and debate me. At least come on and either prove that you're a fucking absolute moron who's just talking out of his ass, or just decide to shut the fuck up. Or read a book. I mean, reading a book would probably be better for you. Maybe that'll qualify you to have discussions with me. But with this arrogance, with this fucking stupidity, and this constant bandwagon fucking jumping, it's fucking pathetic. And you don't have the guts to address this. You're fucking more than willing to talk about the Rittenhouse case, to fucking retweet Alex Jones, but do you talk about what happened at Waukesha? No. Because that would disturb the narrative that you try to set up that whites are so bad. And yes, you've done so. You've acquiesced and you've just fucking sucked dick on your fucking show. And I remember when I was still working with Scott. Actually, I lost my train of thought because I'm getting messaged here. Let me see if I can remember. Let's go back to my stream. When I was still the Rittenhouse case, to fucking returb the narrative that you try to set up that whites are so bad. And yes, you've done so. You've acquiesced and you've just fucking sucked dick on your fucking show. I remember now. Yeah, when I was still working with Scott, the thing was that I was commenting about the fact that he was radicalizing his viewers with his fucking anti-white narrative. And it wasn't just black people. It was fucking, radicalizing with Hispanics and Asians and stuff like that. So I decided, okay, well, let's just randomly see what I can find when it comes to Joe. Because this stuff is sprinkled throughout a ton of his shit. And yeah, I mean, if I had spent as much time as I spent on Scott as I did on Joe, you could guarantee a fucking 24-hour fucking expose evidence marathon on Joe, just on race shit. And when I was still working with Scott, because, Joe, I don't remember what show he popped on. He was like, oh, you got to prove it. Okay, fine. So I just randomly went to his show, and it was like a fucking gold mine. I wasn't there. He had his co-host was black, and he was sucking his dick throughout the entire time, throwing a little slip of jabs here and there against Dave and others. But I got so many clips from that and then presented that in a video, on behalf of, New Drama Club. And he was like, oh, that was just one episode. Meanwhile, we know that if Dave Rose actually spent the time necessary to fucking do this, he'd make a video called Let's Go Cronin. And it would just be fucking displayed for everyone to fucking see. And this hypocrisy, this obfuscation, this willingness to say, well, I'm going to ignore this news story, but I'm going to concentrate on these other ones because they'll make me look great. First, I'm such a pussy, so I'm going to defend Rittenhouse now when I was shitting on him, as was my wife, and saying all these lies that I could have, again, you just look at the evidence. Well, I did that from day one, and I knew exactly what was going on. And yet you shat on him for close to a year, and then, well, now it looks like he's going to be held innocent. Or I finally spent the time actually looking at this stuff. I heard the court case. Now I can actually just forget what I said in the past and pretend like, I was always in support of self-defense. Firearms aren't scary, But we always knew that was your fucking opinion. And your unwillingness to fucking discuss this shit. You're willing to retweet people out, but why don't you make a stance to this? I made the stance from the fucking beginning when it came to, say, Rittenhouse. Every single one of those people deserved what they got. But you're more than willing to jump onto the narrative of the media. And, with the Waukesha stuff, oh, you watching everything. Oh, the evidence would be clear. As soon as fucking I knew this before this was going to happen, and I said so, and it's on the fucking record, unlike you. But I said this is going to definitively lead to some sort of counter reaction from the left, and it might not happen in Kenosha, but we've seen examples of this in the past of revenge attacks. So expect it. And what did we get? Exactly. And I was following this basically almost live. It was like somebody told me it was happening, so I checked in, and then Dave Rose's mind obviously working. I already knew basically what was going on because it's so evident. Technically, you don't even have to see the evidence or watch the evidence, Joe. You can just have an understanding of the last 5 years in politics in America. So that alone already, centered me as, okay, this is probably what's happening. But let's start to look at all the alternate media out there. Let's look at, what's being said. What's being said on police radio. What's being said in tweets and stuff. Let's start to really do what Dave Rose does best, investigate. And that night, actually, I was watching Drew's show, Derailed News and Podcast. And I was sending him information as I was finding it. And many a times I was telling him, still unconfirmed, just to let you know. Because I like to be certain about my information. Unlike Joe Cronin, who from last year will shit on Rittenhouse, call him a stupid kid, fucking said he had no business being there. Of course you'd say that, you fucking coward. Fucking anti-American piece of shit. Again, the Skype lines remain open to you, Joe. Do you have the guts to fucking call in and face off? Let's do it. But of course you'd fucking say that for every year, and I don't know if you're just acquiescing for the fucking sex with your wife, or is she's got you mentally fucking brainwashed, but she was saying the exact same thing. Meanwhile, Dave Rose got proven correct on Friday. Yet again. And I think I'm going to have to actually get a fucking recording from the Bullfrog saying that so I can just play it over and fucking over and fucking over again every single time this shit goes down. Because I'm fucking sick and tired of you, Joe, fucking pandering for race points. Don't you have the guts to at least fucking confront me on this shit? I'm calling you out on all of it. Do you not have the guts to fucking say, I'm so much better than you, Dave, that I could call in. I could take your lashings, and I could fucking make you look like a fool, and then I'm going to clip you, do a show, and make fun of you more. You can't do fucking that? You need a fucking orchestra of fucking 10 people behind you on Discord while they're talking over each other to stand up for you? And it's obviously it's always existed since I worked with Joe, but I've just seen a radicalization of Joe. On top of the fact, this whole fucking stupid mentality of I'm an independent. You don't even know your own fucking political system, you stupid shit. And I go back to that tweet like, oh, I'm 2 for 2. It's like, imagine Dave Rose saying, yeah, I'm 2 for 2 in calling that your country is now bankrupt and that the next 6 months are going to be filled with supply shortages and murders. Yeah, I'm 2 for 2. Look at me. I feel so great. Well, you are a leftist. You are a liberal, an East Coast liberal. Of course you're going to relish the demise of your once beautiful republic. Of course you are. But you're going to claim this knowledge in the law and then say that justice was served? And yet again, we know how you're ignorant of the law, and you latch on to the racial stories, because you got to make yourself look like a good Democrat. You love all your pets. I mean, black voters or payers or donators, whatever you want to call it. But you love them all until they reach a point where they don't pay you and then they're gone. Typical Democrat. But you're going, I'm a fence sitter. Independent. What? And then you make a tweet like, oh, sue them all, Rittenhouse. But you're basically saying that fucking he was a stupid kid who shouldn't have been there. And last year, you were all over it. You're like, oh, just, it's racist. And I was arguing. with it. There was nothing racist about it. But no, it only took you what, a year and actual video, because that saves you time. You know, the lazy are stupid. So until you actually get it on video, what, read a police report, Dave? You're fucking crazy. You stupid psycho. How dare you even insist that I read? What are you, some sort of fucking faggot square? So I think that's very important. Shout out to Drew in the chat there. I think it's important to just highlight the fact that you just look, this isn't fucking Soviet Russia, okay? It's still fucking America and somewhat free Canada. You can't just pull this whole, oh, well, I just changed my opinion, but I never had a different opinion in the first place. That was one of the most striking, and I keep going back to this because it's, you know, one of the most poignant things I've ever encountered is, how old was I? I think I was 13 or 14 when I first read 1984. And the one, like, a lot of it sticks with me, obviously, but the one thing which because it blew me away when I read it, because it's like, oh my God, I've experienced this all my life. And then I continued to experience it throughout my entire life. It's a cognitive dissonance. It's the ability for someone to switch over from one opinion to another and pretend like the previous opinion didn't exist. And in the novel, the whole thing is there's a party leader on stage at a podium saying, yes, we hate Oceania. We're, you know, our allies are Eurasia. And this is the way it is. And then somebody comes and whispers in their ear and they literally change where they're saying, yeah, Eurasia is our enemy and Oceania's always been our ally. They've never not been our ally. Literally changing, moving the goalpost, but changing the narrative on the fly. And when I read that, that blew my fucking mind. Because I'd experienced it so often. And as I noticed as I grew up, so many people would do exactly that. And that, that is something I see specifically with Joe Cronin. Afternoon, Mr. Mira. Mars Mira, the kingpin of Vegas, checking in here this afternoon. So it's this sort of thing that frustrates me because, look, if he wasn't affecting other people, I wouldn't give a fuck. But he is radicalizing people, and I've had to deal with them. These people think I'm some fucking, genocidal maniac, which might be kind of cool, but, like, think of the logistics. That's a lot of work. But seriously, though, like, the way that he's tried to utilize people to fight me for his battles because he can't fight them themselves explains what happened with TJ, with Cameron Mitchell, with fucking, who else we had? There was that one guy who says like, oh, Dave Rose, take the blue pill. I'm like, you should take the fucking red pill. That was a fucking great moment. People laughed. It was great. I called out fucking that piece of shit pedo, DJ Stacy Forever Play. I called him out from the first fucking day I knew that he was bad news. But, oh, no, Dave Rose, you're just a racist. You hate black people. So, it can't be that you actually see, some psychological traits in this individual that would indicate that he, in fact, is a serious harm to himself and others. No, it can't be that. Yeah, Dave Rose is fucking retarded. Also, I will open the lines up to anybody else that wishes to call in, not just Coward Cronin. And look, Joe, when are you going to fucking grow up? When are you going to fucking get your balls out of your wife's fucking drawer, put them, reattach them back onto your scrotum and call the fuck in? Why don't you confront this shit? Is it that difficult? Do you really need a team? Because you know what? Maybe why don't we do that? Why don't we have a fucking cross-promoting, multi-stream handicap match? So you have 5 handicapped people, and you can face me, and still fucking, obviously, it's unbalanced there, because, you're all handicapped regardless. But if you were all of not right mind, it'd still be a handicap match, because 5 of you against me, come on, guys. We've seen what happened in the past with that shit. But, hey, man, if you're up for that, I'm up for anything. But, Joe, you have to fucking address this shit. You have to. You have to, and not some fucking little slip the jab. You were calling into fucking YR show constantly, even when Ken was on. But you can't fucking confront me on my own fucking little pissy ant channel with my little 744 subscribers. You can't even confront me on this shit? Like, come on, Ken. And it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Now, let's continue here, because I have a few other things to say. I got to catch up also with the chat. Let's see here. Nothing so far. But, yeah, shoot work. Van Edwards is he's at his shoot work. But the guy continues to shoot he slips the jab against me, Drew, or fucking Ken. But you have the opportunity to speak, to, I guess, share your opinion, or at least try to defend yourself. And we don't even get that. Let's see here. Okay, so let's continue. So yeah, Joe Cronin doesn't want to cover what happened in Waukesha. And, there was another child that died from his injuries today. And it's now a total of 53 people that were run down. And 6 people have been killed. Do you want to comment about that, Joe Cronin? Because you're willing to comment on Rittenhouse and Ahmed Arbery, but you're not willing to comment on this. This is like big news, which is, like you do, trying to put it in a memory hole. Trying to forget that it ever happened. Right, Joe? Because that would be very, very useful for you. You won't have to talk about this no more. White people bad, and that never happened. So, which, we'll get to with the Arbery thing, because it was a jury of 11 whites and 1 black, and they found these guys guilty. I don't agree with the verdict whatsoever. We'll get into that and the reasons why, which are all based on fact. Unlike emotion with, Joe Cronin. But let's talk about something that, because he's willing to talk about the Arbery case, but he sure is fucking willing to talk about what was clearly a terrorist hate crime. There's so much on this guy. This guy's records are extremely long. He's associated with black nationalist groups. He's made multiple posts spreading white hate and encouraging violence against whites. He's made several rap videos that incite violence against whites. Coincidentally, New York is ruling, or they've proposed to not to include any rap lyrics of any individuals that are tried in court. Let me say that again. They are proposing to not include any of the rap lyrics, violent, racist, misogynist, in any submission for a criminal case in court. Now, what does that tell you? Does it tell you that maybe some of the rap lyrics might stem from their personal beliefs? That they actually do want to go out and kill whites? So, or Asians, or Hispanics, or whoever. So, I think, and plus, just today, I believe, they pushed towards getting 800,000 New Yorkers who aren't even citizens the right to vote. Now, if you want a country, you don't let non-citizens vote. They haven't earned it. They're not there, and they don't have no investment in the country itself. But this is obviously payoff. I know this is a little too difficult for Joe Curran to cover when it comes to economics and stuff. He's totally clueless living there in Massachusetts, paying out his ass with taxes, but totally encouraging the idea of allowing illegals to get priority over his own children when it comes to education. So, and yeah, let's look at this photo. The picture on the right has been adjusted. As always, if we can't convince the public, let's whiten it up. So, you can see some paku eyes, which are basically indicative of somebody who is psychotic. But let's take a look at this photo here, because, well, you'll kind of get the idea. This happened multiple times with CNN and many others. But why is his skin color so different between the two photos? Why is that? Could it be maybe to try to convince people that he wasn't black? That he wasn't black supremacist? Rumor has it, I still have to confirm, that he may have also belonged to the Black Israelites, which is a nationalist extremist group that purports that they are the original Israelis, original Jews, original Hebrews, that they are the original Hebrews, and that they have full right to Israel and blah 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 and so forth. But we've seen this before. I mean, even George Zimmerman, a white Latino. And I use that in quotations because the guy he's not just, part mestizo and stuff. So there's a blend of Amerindian in there as well, but he's also part Jewish. But they did the same thing with him. They did the same thing with the guy from the Florida bombing. And I've covered this in previous videos. But yeah, when they're brown, they got to lighten them up. They got to lighten them up to I guess make it look like it was a white guy, but come on, you could even whiten it up, and the guy on the left still doesn't look white. But they do it. There's the evidence, people. There's the evidence. So it's obvious, to anybody who's been paying attention, is that the media has been trying to stoke these sort of these sentiments in the public for a long time, and it was evident that the propaganda that went into purporting that Kyle Rittenhouse was this terrorist, this white supremacist, absolutely radicalized this individual to go on his rampage and run over these people. He wasn't fleeing a previous crime. That was purported by the media, not the police. And it was easily disproved afterwards. Now, right now, they're desperate. The media is desperate to memory hole this story. They don't want anyone to remember it. They want to move on. But they can't move on to the Arbery case because literally 11 jurors out of 12 were white, and they convicted these guys of murder, which is also incorrect and factually wrong. We'll get to that in a moment. But where's the systemic racism everyone keeps talking about? So this individual, this monster, this scumbag, he got radicalized and he went on this rampage. And it's a terrorist attack because it was, again, you establish character utilizing previous character traits and knowledge of this individual. As a side note, they tried to excuse that from the Arbery case. But this guy has made countless posts about killing, like straight out killing white people. Actually, I think I have the tweet there. Let me see if I can find that. It's that. There's the... yeah, there we go. Hold on. Let me find this. There we go. So there's the posts, the media posts, the social media posts. There's the rap lyrics. There's... his statements on message boards. So if we look at this image here, we're going to see him mentioning, yes, derailed. CNN chose a more convenient photo for less racial backlash. They always do that. Tactics Attacks, aka Wheel Tactics, says light-skinned people have the mutant power to look darker in the summer and paler in the winter. I'll have to take your word for it. So on this image here that was tweeted, Math Boy Fly, which is a very gay name, and if you've ever listened to his music, it's fucking garbage. This guy, by the way, he's a convicted pedophile. The media doesn't want to talk about that at all. Neither do you, Joe Cronin? But he's a convicted pedophile. What to say here? Learned ND taught behavior. So when we start back knocking white people the fuck out, I want to hear it. The white people too. The old white people too. Knock them the fuck out, period. Or run them down. So there's ample evidence that this is not only a terrorist attack, but it's a hate crime. It's specifically focused upon whites. He knew it was going on, and he purposely took that action in retaliation for the decision with Kyle Rittenhouse. But you can clearly see that the media right now is really trying to downplay this and basically lie altogether about it. Claim that he was fleeing a crime, which not only is false, doesn't justify running down people, but we know that this was intentional. We know it. And, cowards in the media or on the JCS channel refuse to talk about it. And they also refuse to look at the facts. So let's look at some facts here. Hold on a sec. I gotta find where the fuck I put these images. No, that's not it. Bear with me here, people. I seem to have... Oh, they're there. Okay. So, before we continue, let me check the chat to see what's going on. Chat says, but I thought if a black man killed in self-defense that they would be shot. I guess this case disproves the narrative. This dickhead looks free of bullet holes and quite alive. In fact, while this was... The verdict came out on the same day as the Rittenhouse case. There's a black guy who was involved in some bad stuff, who was in his house with his girlfriend, and the cops, the SWAT team, decided to try to get in. They tried to use a pole to insert a flashbang into the house, at which point this guy thought it was a rifle, so he opened fired on them. Now, they opened fired on him too. 10 bullets struck his girlfriend, killed her. But I believe he killed at least one cop in this whole thing. And on the same day as the Rittenhouse verdict, this guy was declared as innocent. He was declared guilty for other gun crimes. So you know this guy wasn't a good guy. Probably just only got off on a technicality because, the whole self-defense thing, when you're literally a fucking criminal and you're involved in all this stuff, it shouldn't really work. But that's what happened. But on the same day, he was acquitted of all charges. So, again, where's that systemic racism, again, that people tell me? Where's this that if Rittenhouse was black... Well, clearly not, stupids. Clearly not. I don't hear Joe Cronin talking about this at all. So, let's look at this here. So, Ahmaud Arbery had quite the rap sheet. This is something that the jury was advised to ignore, which is wrong because it establishes character. So this individual not only had several previous convictions, not only had multiple times robbed places, robbed people, committed all these other crimes. He was well known And they don't show this photo. They don't show this mugshot in the media, do they? They always show the smiley one, the one where he's got his tuxedo on from graduating high school. Wowee. But they don't show this now, do they? They don't show the video. Let me see if I got the screenshot. I think I do of that. There we go. They don't show this. They don't show this. They don't show this where 3 and his comrades there were captured shoplifting. And they were obviously subsequently arrested, but they were trying to fuck around. They were trying to resist arrest. No, let's not talk about his previous history that would basically solidify a character who is not only mentally unstable, but also violent and willing to commit crimes. So this obviously establishes character and shows quite clearly that this person is one that has no problems committing crimes. Let's move on to the next image here. Now, hold on. This is a scene from when he initially entered an empty property that was still under construction. Now, this had been going on for months. And it got so common that the neighborhood just started calling him the jogger. Because he would claim, people would confront him, he'd claim, oh, I'm just jogging. But then all this stuff would just go missing from all these houses that were either under construction or houses that were built. There was, several firearms that were stolen, other items. Now look at his shoes, though. Look at his shoes. Those look like jogging shoes, I guess, or at least low tops, something reasonable to run in. But then we get the video the screenshots of the video where he's being confronted and supposedly chased down the street. And you can clearly see that those are certainly not jogging shoes. Those are work boots. And this had happened multiple times throughout the months there, that because it was under construction, I think it was 80 or 90% white neighborhood. You had construction workers leaving their equipment there, leaving their boots and stuff, and you wouldn't expect anyone to come into a house that's under construction, so you'd think that your tools would be safe. Now Arbery lived about 20 miles away. Now you got to be a marathon performer to jog 20 miles to another neighborhood and then jog another 20 miles back to your own neighborhood, especially wearing work boots. So it's very clear here that this individual was not supposed to be there, had caused multiple crimes in the past, and was well known, so much so that the police had actually asked several residents to not only keep their eye out, but to take action. They authorized, lethal force. They've, authorized citizen arrests. So as I said the other day, if anyone wants to take this out on anybody, it's got to be the police. And in turn, it's got to be the city council or town council that enacted these mandates, these rules that told the cops, okay, well, we're giving you the power to do this. So however you want to get it done, do it. But we've got an issue. You're the cops. Figure it out. But you have our authority as the city council. Well, the cops then just do what they're told. Okay, well, we don't have enough patrol cars to get out there, deep in the country there. So let's approach the community and see if they're willing to help us out, which is exactly what happened. But we also have the fact that, look, what happened was homicide. That means the death of a person. Murder means that there was intent. So many, many stupid people out there, including Joe Cronin. Murder would have been, they get out of the truck as he's running, and they just start opening fire. You had one with the shotgun, you had one with the pistol. I believe the third one may have been armed. I'm not totally certain on that one. But you have obviously the one with the shotgun who eventually, that shotgun discharged and killed this guy. But, I mean, if it was a lynch mob, you'd run him down. and then you just shoot him on the ground. Clearly wasn't that. That's not, that would be murder. That's not it. If you confront him on the street, you either run him down. That would be murder. That didn't happen. Or you stop your car at a distance and you open your door, pull out your shotgun, aim. These guys are rednecks, okay? You don't think that they're, every time they're out there drinking beer and shooting. You're rednecks then. They could open the door, use that as part of a shield if they thought he was armed, open fire, boom. Dead jogger there in the middle of the street. No, they confronted him. And what did he do? He tried to grab the firearm from them. Now, that's a stupid move, a very, very stupid move on its own. That's negligence. And it's his negligence, Ahmed Arbery's negligence, that got him killed. This is not a moral issue here, okay? Because they'd say, oh, well, Dave, you think he was justified to getting killed? That's not the question here. The question is, what happens when you're committing crimes, you're confronted by people who the police told, could confront you, and you're dumb enough to actually, instead of running away from these people, run towards them and try to grab a gun? Okay, well, then let's follow that logic. What did you plan to do? What if you were able to take the shotgun away from them? Because you already had a hammer, which you could have used. But what would have been the plan if you had the shotgun? Use it on these guys? That wouldn't really qualify as self-defense now, would it? And there was times where these individuals were backing away from him and he kept pursuing them. That is, if this has been proven multiple times. But if you're backing away from somebody who is attempting to attack you and you continue to back away, you're showing a clear sort of cognizance of a threat to you. You're not approaching them. You're not shoving the gun in their face. You're trying to back up because you do not want that confrontation. And this guy grabs the gun and fucking it discharges. Well, sorry, you're stupid. This is your own negligence. You got yourself killed. And I'm not gonna feel any guilt whatsoever towards this. But forget about that. Let's talk about the criminality. The guy was there. He was so well known that the neighborhood was calling him the jogger. That the police were so well aware that they actually asked the public to help them out. This isn't just like a one-time deal like, oh, there's a black man in our predominantly white neighborhood. Let's go lynch him. No, that's nothing close to that. And if we want to go back to this whole idea, oh, it's systemic racism. Well, these guys got all convicted of murder. I hope they appeal. I hope it's discharged and thrown out because they're not guilty of murder. Are they guilty of homicide? Well, is one of the guys guilty of homicide? Yes, because it was the firearm that he held that discharged. The other two aren't. Look, come on. How difficult is it to shoot somebody's legs out from underneath them with a shotgun at fucking 20 feet? String them up to a tree and fucking have yourself a little old, Georgia picnic. These guys weren't doing that, were they? And by the way, it was their camera that filmed this. They could have easily deleted it. Think about that. They could have deleted this entire video. And, well, they would have had to take their word for it. And, well, considering the evidence, 20 miles away from his own house, multiple convictions, a lot of stolen property in the neighborhood, well, if they had deleted that own video, they would have gotten off. So, again, Joe Cronin, you fucking race traitor coward, why don't you address that? Why don't you address the supposed systemic racism that exists, you fucking fence-sitting shit? Of course you won't. Gonna keep slipping the jab? Gonna keep slipping the jab there? What do you think you can add to this one? Dave Rose is a racist. He pointed out facts on the internet. I'm just going on fucking facts. It doesn't matter about the color of this person. It matters of what the record is. Again, I said this publicly. Did George Floyd deserve to die in the situation that he died under? No. For using counterfeit currency, I don't believe that that's a death sentence at all. Should you serve time? Yeah, of course. The guy was a fucking criminal, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever. But for using false, was it, false currency and such, no. But what happened previously is he held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach and threatened to kill her and her unborn baby unless she gave up her shit. At that point, he should have been fucking killed. Not murdered. Murdered is an intent with criminal act. Killed is also execution. Why? Because it's justified. You hold a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach, threaten her and her baby's life. Oh, you deserve much more than a bullet to the head. But you know what? Times are tough, and, one bullet per fucking criminal. George Floyd deserved to die. Not with using counterfeit currency, but for what he did to that pregnant woman. It's as simple as that. You can whine and bitch all you want. Oh, Dave Rose, he's got no sympathy for criminals. No, I don't. I don't have sympathy for fucking violent criminals. If you steal a loaf of bread, that's a different fucking story. You certainly don't deserve to get fucking shot for that or even killed. But let's ignore the fact that has actually happened. Well, what's happened is black lady caught stealing food from a supermarket. Instead of arresting her, the white cops bought her and her family like 3 months worth of food. Didn't file charges and, bought her kids like Christmas gifts. Yeah, systemic racism, eh, Joe Cronin? Systemic fucking racism. And yet, I don't think we're ever going to hear from your fucking coward ass. You're gonna comment anything on one of you're behind a paywall show? You gonna do anything like that? So sick and tired of your fucking hypocrisy, your fucking pandering. I don't pander to fucking nobody. I'll tell people what I think, and they're like, oh, Dave Rose, this. It's like, yes, but guess what? I still stand by it. That's who I am. And eventually, Mr. Consistent gets proven correct again. And then people actually say, oh, Dave, well, you were right. I mean, at first I didn't think you were. You sounded like a piece of shit racist. But, eventually this stuff came out and I actually exposed myself to the evidence as opposed to just taking the word of the fucking great Joe Cronin. Fucking unreal. And I talked about fucking Ghislaine Maxwell and fucking Epstein, and I was ridiculed when I was talking about that shit on your show. But, yeah, just like 1984, man. Just fucking flip the script, pretend that you'd always said that, and everyone will believe you. But you don't have the guts to fucking address this. You had the guts in the past. I don't know who cut your balls off, but you had the guts to fucking address this. Back when Tommy C was on there, back when I was on there, when JB was on, you had the guts to talk about this. What is it now? You got a black billionaire fucking paying your bills? That's why you don't want to fucking, rock the canoe or rock the boat? I'm just so disgusted by your tweets because they're so opportunistic. And I mean, we have, who was it? Van Edwards just a little while ago says, this is so much more in depth than anyone has covered it thus far. And I'm just scratching the surface. I mean, I did so much research on this stuff in the past, and it's not a fun story to cover. None of these stories are fun to cover. But it just gets tiring when not only you've got the media that's fucking out to fucking lie to you and just try to convince you of everything that, isn't true, but you've got cheerleaders like fucking Joe Cronin who are just pushing these narratives. And then when it proves to be untrue, I never believed that in the first place. I was always pro Rittenhouse. I don't know why I keep saying Rittenberg. I guess the first part kind of sounds Jewish, I guess. I don't know. I have to check with Danny MT. He's got a list, apparently, of 6 million, I think. But anyways, Will Tactics says, Dave, who are your 5 favorite black people? It's like trying to ask who your favorite kids are. There's too many to choose from. But number 1, my Uncle Bill. Number 2, Mr. T. He inspired me as a kid. Let's see who else. Herb Carnegie. I bet you've never heard of Herb Carnegie before. I've met him several times. he was actually a black. Okay, he was a black hockey player here in Canada who came very close to actually getting into the NFL. But this was during the 50s. And obviously there was, discrimination and stuff like that. So he never actually became part of that. But yeah, he died in 2012. Thankfully, I met him, several times prior to that. And he played hockey since, like from the 1944, what was it, to about 1954. He's got a lot of accomplishments. It's not just because he was black. He was a good player and such. He was also a businessman. He worked with his community. He was of Jamaican descent, and there's a lot of people in Canada here of Jamaican descent. So it was actually an honor to meet the guy again. With it, being a hockey player, being as skilled as he was, having him talk about his life. Yeah, so he'd probably be number three. Let's see who else. That's a hard one now. Those are the ones that have probably most impacted me. But you're gonna have to give me some time to think about the other two. I think top three. The top three is not bad. I mean, especially since most people here don't even know who Herb Carnegie was. But I take special pleasure of having been able to meet the guy multiple times and to share with what he was able to share with. Let's see. What else was I going to cover? Skype lines remain open if anyone wants to call in. Joe Cronin on one of his tweets, the media tries to start a race war on the most fake news ever. This video properly shows you. Dude, you've been trying to start a race here for the longest time. Come on. And there was a time once when Joe Cronin would cover the hard-hitting news. There was Shame on News. Remember Shame on News? That was supposed to be the hard-hitting stuff. Where is that now? You'd rather just do a video in your driveway, drinking shitty coffee? I don't know, man. I mean, we hear the comments from Joe about Ken, even, slight jabs and stuff, or Drew, but never Dave. Never Dave. Well, there was a few things here and there, but not much. I mean, I don't know. I'd love to hear the suggestions of other people in regards to why he chooses to do this, or why he doesn't want to confront me on this. Because, dude, this should be a walk in the park for you. You've got like legions of black fans that you've convinced that I'm fucking Hitler reincarnated. So, this should be easy for you, man. Why don't you want to fucking confront me on this? And it's I mean, YR had some great points when I was on a show months ago, and Joe got on there, and YR starts to stir the pot, and he's like, Joe, why won't you debate Dave on race? I was like, well, YR, I don't think he wants to. And then like Joe's like, well, I don't know what we would talk about. I just don't understand. I mean, I'll apologize, but what should I be apologizing for? I don't know, Ken. What should I be apologizing for? Hey, Drew, what should I be apologizing for? I'll apologize, but what should I do that for? That would be what would be the situation. And it's so tiring. I mean, just grow some balls, man. I mean, why is it that, I don't know, Nikki, me, and Ken can disagree and still continue to do shows, and meanwhile we're calling each other out on shit we disagree with. I mean, I can't remember what it was the other day with me and Ken where we disagreed upon. But regardless, it's why can't you just do that? You're willing to tweet out this stuff online. You're willing to make yourself look like this big arbiter of justice and so knowledgeable, and even tweet out people like Ian Miles Chung, who he's somewhat, I guess he's more of a classical liberal, which means he's far right compared to Leah. I mean, Leah is hardcore commie leftist, but you'll tweet him out. But you're all over the place, Joe. You're all over the place. Now, here's a tweet that I've got to mention. I'm more positive about America after today. Both of these cases ended correctly. So he's referring to Rittenhouse and Arbery. Despite what the media tried to lie about, the facts and evidence were there, I should say. Sorry, Joe, that's what you should say. Were there, not was there. Also, no double space after a word. The facts and evidence was there, and our fellow Americans were honest and smart. I am thankful justice happened for both these men who were wrongly attacked. First of all, you sure as fuck weren't saying that last year with Rittenberg. You say he actually deserved it. And I'm just going to eventually have to go back. Maybe I'm just going to have to start a new series, Joe, called Let's Go Cronin. And literally just cover every single video you've made from the get-go, from the beginning. And clip out all these fucking statements, all these fucking proofs of what I've said. Because how many times do we hear you, first of all, crying on Twitter like, I want to kill myself. I want to hack myself. But also saying, I hate America. America sucks. I fucking hate this country. And now, and now, today, you're more positive about America today. Have you been paying attention to who's in the White House right now? Have you looked at your gas bill, your food bill, inflation? Do you know what's happening in the rest of the world? Anything like that? Or are you just more concerned with watching, egg ball and eating sushi and pretending that America is such an evil country and that you're such a great person for opening the doors to illegals? This obviously disturbs me. It disturbs me so much because, and also, you know what? I might as well fucking show it. Let's just go all the fucking way, Dave. Let's just fucking show it. Oh, God, Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo. You're the one who apparently knows the info. You pay attention. You said so. You watch the evidence. And yet, Dave Rose, who has provided actual evidence to this, you are choosing to display this. Now, in the past, you never displayed Kyle looking so dapper. No, you showed his fucking stupid little photo there where he's all chubby and he's got the State Patrol uniform. You showed him as the medic looking chubby as well. The guy's 17, okay? He's got to work off his fucking... Wait till this guy gets 20 and his fucking baby fat starts to melt off. But you showed him fucking... you showed him in the streets with the fucking firearm, you're shooting people. You showed him there. You showed him there last year. But you show Arbery, sorry. Armed robbery. Let's call him armed robbery. You showed him there in his tuxedo. Oh, look, he's such a good boy. He didn't do nothing. Right, Joe? Meanwhile, you, the fucking genius, 2 for 2. I was right for 2 for 2. I was right for 2 for 2. You couldn't even bother. To fucking put up this guy's fucking... what's it called? His fucking mugshot? You gonna do that? So you're more than willing to show the photo of him looking all so dapper, all so nice, but as the actual mugshot. Now you wouldn't actually show the mugshot now, will you? You know, you're willing to show him looking all great. He was a good boy. He was a good boy. You know, he never did nothing wrong. Doesn't have a record. You know, wasn't involved in any criminal activity. No. But yeah, because you're so great, Joe, and you're so knowledgeable. You know so much, and you're also very honest and unbiased and balanced with your approach, that you're going to show that photo and not his actual fucking mugshot. Because we got white people being shown in their mugshots, right? If they're a bad person, they're a bad man. And you want to make them look bad in the media, then you're going to show them in their fucking mugshot photo. You're going to show them doing some criminality to try to push that narrative. But you don't do one and not the other. Real Tactics with some bullshit here says, the real question is, when are Americans going to stop pretending the U.S. was so much better under Trump's reign? When they probably give themselves lobotomies, because guess what? Gas alone tells you that America was better under Trump. Just because he said shit that pissed people off because they're pussies and weak doesn't mean it was a bad presidency. You had food prices at record lows. You had the fact that America was basically now an exporter to the world. There's so much that was well off when it came to Trump's tenure, if you want to call it that, regime, whatever. But there was a lot of good stuff there. Now, here's the thing. I can argue for hours about what was bad about Trump's regime, power, whatever you want to call it. I like to use regime. It just sounds dramatic. But you could say the same thing about fucking George Bush's regime or fucking Obama's regime. Same thing, though. I could go on for hours and give you detailed, explanations as to why that was bad, what that led to, blah, blah. You know, Dave Rose, he's intelligent. Joe can't do that, which is pathetic, and that's another reason why I'd love to debate him, because I know that if we were to debate what were Trump's bad things, because that's the only way to explain him. It's not like what were his negative attributes, because you can't explain that sort of thing to Joe Cronin. He needs simple words. So what were Trump's bad things? Orange man bad. Why? He would say a few things, but not even be able to back it up. Meanwhile, I'd give you a fucking New York Times bestseller, and I would fucking cite each of those fucking points to fucking hell, to the point where the moderator would be like, okay, Dave, that's enough. Like 100 sources enough. Okay, let's move on to the next point. I can pull that off because I'm balanced. I'm not a fucking fence-sitting libertarian piece of shit like Joe is. But I can be balanced, and I can see it, and I can analyze it. But Joe can't. So Joe will continue to associate, and I've seen this in tweets, associate Biden with Trump. But they have, look, under Trump, there was no fucking supply shortage. But there is under Biden. No, but they're both responsible for that, right? Record black unemployment. Half Black Will, you should attest to this. Record black unemployment to the point where it was never at that point ever in the history of America. Ever. We're just going to ignore that. No, that didn't happen. Orange man bad. We elected somebody who was senile because he wasn't Trump. Hey, Joe, we conned them, Joe. And that fucking cunt. Fucking, if anyone knew about this bitch, they would have never fucking voted for her. And I mean, shit. Montel Williams dated her. He should have fucking thrown her into the bay there, San Francisco. But I shall not relent. I shall not relent, because evil triumphs when good men do nothing. And as long as Joe Cronin continues to talk about politics, I have no other duty than to address this. Joe has the simple option. Just concentrate on what you know. Fake fighting and video games. I don't know what else you're good at, but car salesmanship, Windows, retailing, I don't know. But look, if you're going to talk politics, stop with this fucking pandering bullshit. I've had enough with it. I've seen you radicalize people. And I honestly don't care if somebody thinks that I'm this or I'm that. I fucking embrace it. Somebody calls me a Nazi, I fucking Photoshop my head onto a fucking Nazi, and I make it look beautiful. And I use that fucking image. I'll fucking, somebody says I'm racist, fucking I take the George Floyd photo with Chauvin and Floyd, I put my face on Chauvin, I put Cronin's face on Floyd, and bam. Which actually I think that got me struck on one video. But whatever, I'm unrepentant on that shit. And these memes will live forever. Because it's not just YouTube I can get them off. Many other places. But who else have you found more consistent than Dave Rose? Who's willing to stand up and basically say, this is what I believe, and you're not going to twist me, you're not going to guilt me, you're not going to convince me, you're not going to shame me. This is who I am. We can discuss it logically, or you can fuck off. That's as simple as that. And in the end, Joe, I always come out on top. That's right. The cream always rises to the top. Yeah. And also because I'm confident. I sailed away, knew I was going to be proven correct. And when I came back into port, cheering crowd saying, that's right, Dave. The proof that you told us was correct. And you were absolutely right. So there we go. Oh, a new clip. Let's see. I do appreciate you, Joe, for putting this up. I'm guessing you've been listening. You should be. But he says, bless this man's heart. And what is it? It's a tweet from Breaking News. It says, Ahmaud Arbery's father. All lives matter, not just blacks. We don't want to see nobody go through this. It's all our problem. So, hey, let's keep fighting. Let's keep doing it. Making this place a better place for all human beings. All human beings, everyone, love everybody. Now, this is clear from, look, Joe does this just to make it look like he's, I guess, equal across the board. This is brownie points here. This is brownie points. This is not like, I actually believe this. This is, that this is, factual, that it's balanced. No, this is like, oh, this will make me sound okay. And shit, man, I've been going on now for 1 hour and 11 minutes. So, yeah, since I dived in fairly quickly into Cronin, I'm sure that this would be, considered a response from Cronin. Nothing confirmed, but this is a response from Cronin. Be like, I'm not racist. I tweeted this black guy's tweet out. See? I've got black tires. I'm not black. I'm not racist. That's what I'm seeing here. But let's actually listen to this tweet. I want to hear it. Or this video of a tweet.
For real, all life matters.
All life.
Yes.
Not just black children. We don't want to see nobody go through this.
No,
Amen.
I don't want to see no daddy watch their kid get lynched and shot down like that.
That's right, Mom.
So it's all our problem. It's all our problem. So, hey, let's keep fighting. Let's keep doing it and making this place a better place for all human beings.
Amen.
All human beings.
Amen.
Everybody.
Amen.
Love everybody.
Love everybody.
All human beings need to be treated equally.
Yeah.
Nice speech and all that, but you know what? Let's actually try to bring up something of people who actually mean business. People who actually aren't going to fall for the fucking bullshit. So, hold on. Let's see if I can find this. This is based on memory. I saw this about a week ago. Hold on. Son of a... Don't fuck with me, YouTube. I will find you. I will fucking find you. Hold on. Oh, okay, maybe that's why. Yeah. All right. Hold on. Let me get this set up. Now these people mean fucking business. The title of this video is called Detroit 300 Searches for Child Killers. I'll let them speak for themselves. And yes, the majority of them are black.
Going to start or when they'll start, but they say they will be targeting hotspot areas. And here at the Northwest Activity Center, we met with members of the Detroit 300 just a short while ago. And
badass name, by the way. Badass name, because we're referring now to the Spartans. So that should really settle things right now.
They say they are fed up and fired up about getting justice for murdered children.
Our message to the gangbangers and anybody else that's engaged in a lifestyle that put babies like this and our seniors in jeopardy of their lives. We're telling you.
They're showing photos of all these dead kids who have been shot up in Detroit.
There is no coming together with you, period. There is no uniting with you. Let it be known from this day forward, you are our enemy, period.
Known for hitting the streets in some of the city's toughest neighborhoods, the Detroit 300 is about to start pounding the pavement again. Outraged over the recent murder of 9-month-old Delrick Miller and the babies and children killed before him. The Detroit 300.
Now, that's not the entire speech. I thought it was, but YouTube being a bitch. So, we're going to go to one of my favorite commentators on YouTube. Oh my God, Dave Rose. Likes a black commentator. Oh my God, the Officer Tatum. Maybe
it's about time.
Maybe you've heard of Brandon Tatum, former police officer. I believe he had. Well, yeah, he did have issues in the past with the police. I don't believe he was actually a felon, but he had run-ins with the cops. Growing up in a poor black neighborhood, that seems, more likely than not. But turned his life around, and he went so far as he became a SWAT member. So he was dealing with some hot situations. Man of God, man of family, very insightful, but also very honest. And I don't always agree with the stuff that he says, but I like to hear the differences in opinions. And in the end, those with logical minds, their opinions aren't very varied. They believe in the same sort of tenets. But he's got the better interview here because it's much longer. I can't seem to find the full interview, but I don't think he's going to strike me for showing his video. Hopefully not, Brandon. Please don't. I don't monetize my channel, but yeah, I'm hoping not to get struck.
This video is brought to you by The Officer Tatum Store. The Officer Tatum Store. Get the merch link in the description section. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell.
Free commercial for you, though.
Also get notifications anytime I go live and make a video. Make sure you still subscribe to this channel. Like this video. Comment on this video. Share this video. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, and ladies, make sure that when you go onto The Officer Tatum Store, you scroll down to coming soon. Click on the item. It may say sold out. Click on the item. Hit notify me when made available. So when we do stock the item, you will be notified immediately. It's at the bottom of the page. Just scroll down. Coming soon. Fire merch. Fire merch. Anyway, finally, some brothers get on here and they bout that life. This is the type of stuff that I feel like will change the inner city communities forever. It ain't police brutality and Black Lives Matter and all this old foolishness. It's stuff like this. And I'm glad I didn't see any women right here.
And also, I got to say, these guys look badass. Like, there's a bunch of them in masks and shit. Like, they're big boys, and you can see that they mean business.
Why, Mr. Tatum? Because it's the men's responsibility to control the community. If you read the Bible, God is the head of Christ. Christ is the head of the church. Christ is the head of man. Man is the head of the household. All right?
Praise
the
God.
man is the head of the household. If the man is the head of the household, it's the man's responsibility to make sure that he has the proper leadership to put things in proper order. When other men are in the community, destroying the community, as you can see when I play this video, are attacking our children, we need men to step up and do something about it in their own community. Not. You ain't trying to do something in Ferguson, and you do something where you live, and I'm appreciative, and it makes me happy and inspired to see strong men, especially men of African descent, American men of African descent, standing up for their own communities. And I love what he said. He called out the game.
And being fathers. Nothing more inspiring to see men step up to be fathers.
Bangers and all this other stuff, because enough is enough.
Regardless of fucking race.
Enough. This is where we need to start. Not talking about the police, not talking about white supremacy and the Ku Klux Klan and all this stupid stuff, but right here. Don't let B. Tatum talk too much. Roll the film, brother.
We're calling on all men to stand up. If you have an ounce of courage in you.
By the way, this is Raphael B. Johnson, president and founder of the Detroit 300. No mute for me, motherfuckers.
If you have an ounce of fearlessness in you, we're asking you to stand up. We're not asking you, we're demanding you to stand up.
Yeah.
Because these babies have been killed on our watch. These babies have been abducted on our watch. These babies have been accosted and victimized on our watch. So as men, it's demanded upon us to stand up. Now our question to you
I want to clap.
Is where are the uncles, the cousins, the fathers, the brothers of these victims?
And the neighbors.
These babies, where are you at? And what are you doing? Our message to the gangbangers
Come on.
and anybody else that's engaged in a lifestyle that put babies like this
Come on, brother.
and our
Come on,
seniors
brother. Come on,
in
brother.
jeopardy of their lives.
Come on, brother.
We're telling you, there is no coming together with you.
This is how you win. When you realize that your enemy will always punch slower than you. If you're not willing to meet your enemy at the same playing field, you've lost. Sun Tzu told you that. This is quite clear. It's done. No more games. This is how you win.
Period.
There you go.
There is no uniting with you. Let it be known from this day forward, you are our enemy.
That is what a man says. Unequivocally stated. This is what it's going to be.
Period. There is no coming together. Period.
That's the attitude that wins wars.
There is no seminar. There is no workshop. There is no session. There is no sit down to talk about you. We are coming after you, period. Today is the wrong day to be on the wrong side of the law.
I feel like screaming. Let me, y'all give him a round of applause. Yep.
And just a reminder, people, the government is only there to ensure your rights, not to give them to you. No, not at all. To ensure your rights. They can't do their job. It's actually now your responsibility to get them out of there, even if you have to use violence. It's actually in the Magna Carta and the Constitution of America and other constitutions. But it's your responsibility to remove them because the law belongs to the people. So the government might try to enact unlawful acts, but it's the people that define the law.
Yep.
How much guts you got to talk about this, Joe Cronin? Are you just going to maybe cover this on a video soon, like, oh, look at all these great black people, hey, yeah, you know, and not talk about me covering it or what led, you know, to this happening or anything like that? Is that what we're going to encounter, Mr. Cronin? Let's go, Cronin.
This is what I'm talking about. Now, I'm an Uncle Tom coon sellout, Uncle Tom bootlicker, and all kind of other stuff.
Well, Joe Cronin would probably call you that, at least over the internet. Not to your face, though, but he'd probably call you that, yes.
If I say this, but this, and you know what? I'm gonna call this organization. I want to vet them first before I tell y'all to go out and support them. I'm gonna call down there and talk to these brothers because they had the link on there and say, what can I do to support y'all? Because I believe in this right here. I ain't gonna waste my money supporting no Black Lives Matter, teaching Marxism and all kind of other stuff.
What are you talking about? Joe Cronin loves them. He fucking shit on me, and when he asked me if I supported BLM, I was like, no, they're a Marxist group. How dare you? You hate black people. But I was like, no, but what about the funding? No, they hate black people. So well, I can't get to you, Joe. But who's proven correct? Oh, that's right, me. Yes, again, Mr. Consistent. And your first drama emperor. Let's continue.
And the Black Lives Matter will never do a press conference with talking about black kids.
Damn fucking right.
That have been smoked in the inner city. I'm going to call them. Y'all have my word. I'm going to call them and follow up with them and say, what are y'all doing? How can I help? Because I don't live there.
Probably the best thing that, and they probably already thought of this, is don't divert any funds to the government. They're going to try to fuck us over. We have and they'll probably work together to create some sort of community plan where these funds could actually get to the right people and not fucking go through a fucking stupid bureaucracy where by the end of it, you're getting pennies because it was just paying for a bunch of fucking unelected bureaucrats to sit on their ass fucking having meetings about having meetings. And I have worked in unions and government before. I can't reveal too much, but I can tell you that is quite common.
I don't have an obligation to physically go down there and do nothing. But y'all brothers doing it. I can support you. Do y'all need financial support? Do y'all need, you know what I'm saying? What do y'all need?
Kind of reminds me of when, I believe it was the Crips were founded. Somebody's going to have to correct me in the chat. But the Crips were founded essentially as like a community neighborhood group that was out there trying to support those who had less. They do fundraising, get food kitchens, that sort of thing going, and U.S. COINTELPRO, which is counterintelligence program, started in the 70s by what was his name? The vacuum cleaner guy, Hoover. Not really, but that's his name. This whole program was basically to infiltrate all these groups. Many of them were black rights groups, and they basically inserted their own operatives in there to either be a rat or to destabilize the group itself or to radicalize it to start to do violence. And that is, to my knowledge, what happened with the Crips, which is you had government infiltration utilizing the COINTELPRO program, or COINTELPRO, I repeat myself. And that's how you got the fights between the Bloods and the Crips and the violence that was caused from that, which was a great distraction from all the drugs the CIA was bringing into LA at that point. You always need a nice cover to cover things up.
And if I can do that, I'll help, because this is what I get behind. I love to see men in the community standing up for what's right. Y'all need guns? Hey, I could donate to your gun fund, because y'all probably gonna need some guns after saying what you said about the gangbangers.
Oh, and I do have to comment on this, is that after the Rittenhouse thing, they're like, the either fucking stupid white leftist pieces of shit or a black supremacist. They were saying, lots of Jews, were saying basically, what, you'd have a problem with a black person patrolling their neighborhood in Detroit, keeping the peace and self-defending? It's like, well, yeah, that, first of all, it's your inalienable right under the Second Amendment. And if your neighborhood's encountering problems and the cops can't fucking take care of it, or the politicians don't want to, well, your Second Amendment lets you take care of that. So, you're a black person walking around your neighborhood with an AR-15 and some punk decides to try to fucking rob a house and you fucking down him? I'll fucking buy you a beer. That's perfectly acceptable. And in fact, it's actually required. There's certain societal duties. You want to, and this is true. Many people don't look at this, but this is true. If you want to live in a society, just like I said earlier, if the government is corrupt, it is your duty to remove them. And it actually, being based on Magna Carta and stuff, is that if it has to get violent, a violent revolution, it's actually within the rights of the people. This is what are we talking about? Over 600 years worth of fucking history? I mean, this is established in law. All these countries that formed after that, it's established in their law. So it technically is within not only your right, but it's your duty. Like if you want to live in a country and you want to claim your rights, you got to ensure that those rights are available. And if the government is illegally taking them from you, then you have to depose them. It's just in the law. This is natural law. It's tort law. It's common law. It's there. It basically dictates your government is fucking you over. You now must remove them. And now, obviously, that's easier said than done, but that's what people seem to forget. It's like, oh, you're proposing things that are illegal or wrong. It's like, no, I'm proposing things that have been that everything's been established on for the last 400-600 years. You know, how can you just ignore this and say, oh, well, it's better not to cause waves and not to defend yourself? So you would rather see your country burn? Because that would be the statement of a traitor. And, well, if we want to go back to, tort law and Magna Carta, that comes with a bullet to your head. Because now you're admitting that you want to see this country disintegrate. That is subversion. And, well, that falls in line with treason. And what's the punishment for treason? Execution. I'm just speaking the fucking facts. I should have been a constitutional lawyer, but I'm telling you the absolute truth here. Now, before we continue, because I've been going on quite the diatribe, see if there's anything else that I need to address. A lot of good conversation in the chat. Yes, JR4 the Third, this is the Officer Tatum, a.k.a. Brandon Tatum. Ben Edwards with some interesting comments. Jalapeno fire roasted chili, boys. It's going to be good with some cornbread and venison. Actually sounds fucking good. Fucking, especially with the venison. And the chili. I've never tried that together, so that sounds good. And, dude, cornbread, you could give me a room full of cornbread, and I'll sleep on it, I'll caress it, and I'll eat every single fucking morsel. So let's go back to this video.
But I will support men who step up and do this. And for all the naysayers out there, B. Tatum never did, he don't care about his own people. No, I care about people doing what's right.
Well, he's talking about, these are black people he's talking about, so how could he not care for his own people? But, okay.
The strategic, the most effective.
Oh, that's right, because you don't follow the leftist views, so therefore, obviously, you're a sellout. Yeah, I've heard the story before. It was levied against the great real talk metaphor Messiah, and we know it's all fucking bullshit.
The most genuine attitude, genuine perspective and action towards what will really help our inner cities. All of this fluff and talking and all this fake stuff, that ain't helping nobody. That's why we still being and complaining right now about stuff 100 years ago. Because all of that political stuff ain't doing nothing. It's going to take men to get in the community and say enough is enough. Do I have to set up on the block? Because you young boys ain't going to be running and gunning around here. Do I have to set up on the block? Do we have to walk our kids to school strapped? Is this what we got?
And I got no problem with that. You know, the MSN would be like, oh, you'd probably get freaked out with seeing a bunch of armed black people escorting their kids to school. I'd be like, fuck no. Fucking, I love fucking firearms, you know, and the sooner you can educate people about them, and the better. No, if this is the only way to send a message to criminals, I encourage it. I got no problem. And this is why it's so hilarious. It's like, oh, well, you don't say that if it was black people. I absolutely say that if it was black people, especially with places like fucking Detroit or Chicago. It's like, absolutely go walking around your neighborhood strapped and fucking someone looks at you bad and you fucking put them down. make your fucking communities great again. Utilize the skills that are and the rights that you have inalienably.
Got to do, because it's on our watch. I love that he said that. It's on our watch. Don't worry, no. It ain't about the white man. It ain't about systemic.
And there actually are white people in like amongst these Detroit 300 here. So just to let you know, yeah, white people still exist in Detroit, and white people still like black people, and white people still are willing to defend their neighborhoods, even if black people live in them. Oh my God, Joe Cronin, what do you think of that?
Oppression, it happened to our babies on our watch. And for the fathers whom are the fathers of these children, the uncles of these children, the grandfathers of these children, where are you at? Because these are your babies. I should be responsible for protecting the kids in my family, the young babies in my family. That's my obligation. This is what real men look like. Not running around crying about white people all day. But
Plus, he told Detroit gangbangers, "You're our enemy from this day forward." You're like, that's some fucking balls, because you got a lot of these punk ass bitches there in Detroit who, live in the ghettos, and the cops aren't going out there, and they're streaming them shooting people in the street and stuff. You ain't tough. You're a fucking puss. You're a fucking SEMO. These are the people that are going to fucking rout you out. They're going to come into your neighborhoods, and they're going to they'll fucking fire on your house. And it's going to be a fucking massacre. It's going to be deliciously beautiful.
Standing up for what's right. Now, I don't know. They could be crying about white people right after this. But what he said is 100% true. What they represent on this video is 100% what I can stand behind. And I'm going to call them, like I said, and I want to know what you brothers need, what y'all need. And maybe I'll do a live stream if they legit. Maybe I'll do a live stream and we can raise money together to support them, because they may need support, because they ain't finna get a $1 million GoFundMe. They ain't finna get it. Now, if a thug go out here and get into an altercation with a white cop, he gonna get $2-3 million. People ain't gonna get him nothing. These brothers gonna have to go out on their own dime. Not today though. If they good, I gotta vet them first. But if they good men, and I like their philosophy, and they not some weird Nation of Islam and stuff like that, nothing against that. But just as long as they keep it straight, they can be Nation of Islam, whatever they want to do. Just make sure y'all doing what's right in the community, and not some radical anti-white group. And then maybe I'll think about supporting them. But
my God, this guy sounds so radicalized. He doesn't hate white people whatsoever. Oh my God.
I
don't think Joe Cronin would like him then.
This video should be played all over the country, all over the inner city, because it is invaluable that men step up and take their position. It is invaluable. The country women are not going to take over the country.
Proving yet again that men are the ones that lead. And you want a nation that's stable? You don't want women in politics. Sorry.
They are not going to lead the country to paradise. It's just the way it is. It's up to men to lead the country to paradise. Take your doggone position. Be a man. Take responsibility. Quit trying to leave it on the women. You leave it on to take care of the kids and to try to lead a revolution. See, back in the day, people like Martin Luther King was a man leading a revolution. And nothing against women. Y'all can do y'all thing. But God has chosen a man to be the head of the household. A man needs to take his position. And a great woman understands the leadership role that her man's supposed to have. And she helps facilitate that, helps build that man up, give him what he need to lead. All right, I can preach. I'll put an offering plate, and I'm gonna pull the offering plate out in a minute, and y'all can say amen and donate to the offerings.
Amen.
I'm just playing. I don't need no offering. Y'all can go support these people and go support people in your own community. Like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all visit all the links and stuff that I told you about. Visit it in the description section. Just one link. Click on it. Link tree pop up. Everything you need to know is there. I'll probably make a follow-up video after I contact these brothers, if they even want to hear me out, and I'll let you guys know how it went. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.
Please don't fucking strike me, bro. Don't strike me, bro. Trying to show off your stuff. So there we go. That was a better coverage of that press conference, which included the great comments from the Officer Tatum. And I think he gives some great insight, considering his experience. And yeah, it's good to know that he's focused on what's important and shares the same opinion as many other people out there. We got Bam in the chat. Welcome, Bam. He says, Costanza, Joe would ask if he could get his community to join his Patreon, donate to his show, so he could buy sandwiches for the kids. Yeah, but he'd have to hide the fact that they were caviar-filled gold leaf sandwiches. Those are quite expensive there in Boston. After all the taxes go to support illegals, which Joe is perfectly fine with. Chad says, DDR, I've been Google moderated before for using the white supreme word, but the full word's obviously. That's fucking pathetic. If I see that happening, I'm going to have to spank Google, do something to them. And speaking of Google, the other day, actually, someone spanked Google hard because they took down Google Cloud, and all these dumb fucking companies that rely on literally a CIA cover company, they lost their service as well. So we're talking Home Depot. Oh, what else was there? There were some huge companies. Best Buy, Nordstrom, I think. There's some fashion companies, but yeah, basically they lost service because they relied on Google, and I believe it was probably a Chinese attack. So they took that down, and all these people were left unable to purchase their goods at all these different stores. Quite hilarious. Skype lines remain open. I'd like if somebody would have the guts to call in. What is this? Come on, people. What is this? Why is it that I only have the guts, the cojones, las bolas, the chutzpah, the internal fortitude to discuss this topic, or these two topics, I should say, as controversial as they might sound? And I'm not sure if the thumbs down are related to the controversy that I've provided and my unrepentant nature, or if we just have a bunch of faggots out there that are bored and don't have a pride parade to go to. But I would think, and I would hope, that perhaps somebody would be willing to call in to share their opinion. I mean, I know Ken is off today, but he not call in. Ken, why you not call in, Ken? Are you scared? Don't be that scared, Ken. You can talk. You have a lot of. You say you have a lot of black friends. Kenny boy, you had a lot of black friends. In fact, you said that you never experienced the racism, which I find fucking hilarious, especially growing up in a predominantly black school, because I grew up in a school, or at least my early ages in elementary school, from grades junior kindergarten to grade 3, was in a transitory group. Neighborhood, I guess. So it was lower middle class, I guess. Middle class. But it was close by to an actual subsidized housing ghetto, if you want to call it that. And that would probably be the best way to call it, because nobody took care of that property at all, and it looked like shit. My babysitter was there, so, me and my brother would go every day after school to her place. And, a lot of black people around there. A lot of... well, at that point, it was really mostly only black people. There weren't many Indians around there. But, yeah, I experienced racism from a very early age. But I find it... And... I mean, shit, I wanted to be Mr. T when I fucking was 4 years old. So, I mean, like, to be honest, I don't know where it came from. all this sort of hate that I experienced, but it can't be ignored because I know of so many other cases that are. It's not anecdotal; it's statistical. So there's clearly something there. So I'm not too sure how Ken. Maybe he was pulling a Trudeau, and using blackface all the time through high school or through his school, so no one knew he was Italian. But I find it very surprising that Ken never experienced anything, and I experienced quite a lot. And I still got to find the photo of me with my first kiss, and the first girl I ever kissed was black. But yeah, I mean, it's just like, to me, color wasn't something until it was pointed out to me. It's like, oh yeah, we are a different color. It's like, what do you mean I can't be Mr. T? He's cool. It's like, yeah, but you're not black. Oh, okay. So imagine at 4 years old being told that. And you watch fucking A-Team and you think he's the coolest guy ever. He reminds you of your fucking Uncle Bill. And it's just like, that's who I want to be when I grow up. It's like, but you can't. Well, I don't understand. Why? Because you're not black. Okay. So, there you go. A little personal history from Dave Bruce. But, yeah, again, I wonder, why? Why is it that nobody is calling in? Maybe I should start hijacking people and fucking calling people up. If I see you're available online, I'll call you up. How about that? I'll pull a wire on you, I'll hijack you, and I'll fucking bring you into this call. Unknowingly. How about that? I think I've been quite patient with you. Giving you a great show today, talking about controversial topics that I'm unrepentant on, but yet I continue to provide logical information behind them, remaining Mr. Consistent. And as such, I think it's only appropriate that somebody call in and share their opinion, or at least give me a fucking break so I can take a breath or two, you faggots. We got Will Talk that says, shit. I used to get called a slave all the time in middle school. Wow. That's interesting. Not too sure. Where'd you grow up in? Fucking Georgia? Fucking Alabama? And, what is it, just if you got just a slight tan? So even if it was a white guy that had a slight tan, like they'd call him slave? Because I know you'd be half black, Will. So, obviously, your complexion isn't, one of Nigerian or something. So, maybe it was just the place you grew up in where anybody that saw a different shade either than snow ivory would be like, hey, you don't look like us. Let's call you something. I don't know. That's the thing. I know that there's such a variety between places in America where there are some places where there's some extreme hate amongst races. And there's some places where it's just like, nobody even cares about that shit. Drew was talking about that the other day. It's just like, people are just enjoying their company. And in Canada, it's mostly like that. Depends on where you go. There are ethnic neighborhoods, or aka ghettos. And yeah, some of them might look nice, but if you understand the definition of what ghetto means, it doesn't mean looking like shit like a project. It means an ethnically specific neighborhood. So, and you see this a lot with the Chinese in Toronto, there are neighborhoods that are entirely Chinese, where a whole plaza will have nothing but Chinese words on the signs. You have no idea what each shop is, which is illegal. Also using a evil commie language, which has no place in Canada, also illegal. You go into a store, they want to give you the time of day. Oh, no, English. No. Also illegal. You'll find something a little similar with, say, Hindu. Well, actually more Sikh communities than Hindu, but regardless. You have East Asian cultures that do similar. You have black cultures that do similar. So there is discrimination up here in Canada, but there's also neighborhoods that are diverse. There are also places that are diverse. So you might find an Ethiopian restaurant right next to an Italian restaurant, right next to, I don't know, sub shop. And there's people of all sorts going into all of them all the time, and there's really no conflict in those areas. So, I understand that there are racial conflicts all over the place. But I think obviously and I think many of you agree as well, is that it is overblown by the media specifically to cause division. That's what sells. Let's see here. Will says, that's funny because the guy that called me a slave was actually from Georgia. Interesting. But it was in Noblesville, Indiana. Oh, wow. That's quite up ways north there. That's JB's state. But that kind of makes sense, don't you think? Call in, JB. I'm sure you have more guts, JB, to call in and talk about race than fucking Joe Cronin does. Let's see. J.R. Ford III says, my stepdad taught me about race, his view as a business owner, real hard work too. His view turned me very liberal because it seemed hateful, but lol, I get it now. Well, if I remember the old saying is that if you're not a liberal at a young age, you've got no heart. But if you're not a conservative at an older age, you've got no brain. So, there you go. Van Edwards says, not in Alabama. Everyone is broke and most towns are so small you have to learn to live together. You go to the grocery store, everyone talks to everyone. Yeah, so there are places where that, just works. J.R. Ford III thankfully confirms that he hasn't been a liberal since 2001. Was it what happened in New York or what? Van Edwards says, block parties with Hispanic, white, black, and few Asian people, even some Indian folks. Everyone gets along here, but you watch TV and everyone says Alabama's some sort of racist hellhole. And that's what's fucking disgusting and insulting, is that it's the quick go-to. It's like, oh, Georgia, Alabama, fucking, Tennessee, it's all racist. It's all a bunch of fucking rednecks and KKK rallies and all this shit and blah, blah, blah. And it's total fucking lies. But people, like Joe Cronin, fucking swallow it like fucking cum. Because they enjoy that degeneracy. So, it's obviously we have, substantial, intelligent individuals here in this chat that really see beyond what they've been told and also have the life experience to tell them, no, what I'm being told is fucking fallacy. It's not the way it is. But, you guys aren't the fucking race hustlers that Joe Cronin is, trying to fucking pander to all these different people. Make it sound like, oh, you're so much better than somebody else because, oh my God, you've got white friends, you got black friends, you got Hispanic friends. Oh my God, that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly okay. You're not pulling that shit. We only see that with Mr. Cronin. Again, Mr. Cronin, the lines remain open for you. Do you have the guts to take me on? Take me on. Take on me. Come on, Joe. Why not for once in your life? You stand up to the, what am I, some sort of megalith or something here? Look, man, you've got even Bullfrog who's willing to fucking try to fight with me and shit. You got Danny, you got all these people. I'm going to have to give my points to Bullfrog, though. Even he is willing to stand up against this Titan. Even he. So, if Bullfrog can do it, or at least have the guts to do it, what are you fucking waiting for, Joe? What are you fucking waiting for? What do you have to lose other than being exposed for being a panderer? Well, why not just embrace that? Be like, yeah, I pander. I fucking love it. People pay me money, and I suck their dick, and I tell them what they want to hear. I never admit my own opinion. And, yeah, I am a racist Democrat who thinks that non-whites are my pets, and they're very easily utilized for my benefit. Just, I mean, I'd respect that if you were honest that way. I mean, come on, why don't you be honest? Just tell me the truth. If you think I'm a dirty speak, A dirty wet bag, just eso. It's okay. It's okay. I accept it. I accept it. I'm here in your country. I have to adapt. Have to acknowledge the predominant society, the culture, and I have to learn how to talk in your languages. Perhaps in both official languages of Canada, comme je peux parler. Allô? C'est possible comme ça? Yeah, but Joe, you only speak one language, and that's extremely poor English. And yet, do you guys ever think that Joe Cronin will ever have the guts? Do you think I'm just going to have to call into Joe Cronin just to walk into the fucking devil's lair? Just go onto his fucking stupid, what is it? His Discord. And if he hasn't blocked me, just wait there so he brings me on his show so there's 10 people ready to fucking yell at me. And while I try to, dignifiedly and logically try to discuss topics that are brought up, I will be inundated by mongoloids asking different things or just, like chimpanzees throwing their shit and expecting me to be able to address them all at the same time. I only have one mouth, not 10. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have to do that right now. Will Dave Rose need to slap a bitch? Which means call into JCS. So there we go. There's your poll, people. It's long and hard, and that's what she said. So let's see if what people say, because monetize this is on Friday nights, and that's when I'm doing Friday Night Fire. But perhaps maybe what I'll need to do is I'll have Ken record me as I call into Joe's show, and maybe we can hear Dave Rose talk to Joe Cronin. Apparently Joe Cronin doesn't want to talk to Dave, but he probably feels comfortable in a safe space there on his channel with 10 people on his call. Is that the Garguts laugh? I can't really do it very well. So there's that. Like who do you got to go against me? You want to get TJ again on there? I'll get your channel flagged if you want. Just by my words, I'm not going to flag it, but I'm just saying you want to fuck around, you'll find out. So is that who the only person who can defend you, Joe? So, I'm game. I'm game for fucking throwing down. Why not you? You have a show called Throwdown. In fact, on those earlier episodes, it was commended to me because the show was going nowhere. It was all fucking boring. And I called in and I threw down. And I gave some fucking fire to it. So, how do we do this, Joe? How do we do this? What do I got to do? And this is, you like stabbing Western, right? What do I have to do? So what do I have to do to get you to respond to this, to address this? Because, you might as well you could just come out and say, you know what, Dave, you're right. I'm a panderer. And I have nothing else to go on. It's like, oh, well, he cut the punch there. Beat me to the punch there. Cut to the chase. There we go. I'm getting mixed up. Cut to the chase, beat me to the punch. Well, okay. Well, can't argue with that. You clearly admitting it. Because, some of these, these evangelical priests and pastors and shit, they're all fucking fake. Like this Joel Ofstein and shit. If they would just come out and admit what they fucking believe, then I don't think there'd be that much of a, controversy. But they keep trying to pretend that they're all good when in fact they're just trying to fucking grift people. So, all I want is honesty. All I want is honesty. And I don't understand. If you thought you were so great, Joe, if you thought that you were capable of talking about these things, then why can't you fucking destroy me? Why can't you destroy me one-on-one? Why can't you even debate me on this sort of thing? What is it that you fear that you can't accomplish? Getting your point across, looking stupid, revealing that you are pandering and that you have both, white guilt as well as this bigotry of lower expectations where you think black people need to be your pets. What is it? I'm so tired of fucking trying to understand his reasoning here. But it wouldn't be that bad if this motherfucker stopped tweeting these fucking tweets. It's so fucking evident, dude. It's fucking pathetic. And again, to jump into the whole thing like you were always part of it, like you always knew about it, like, oh, sue them, Kyle. It's like, but last year you were saying, you and Leah were both saying that the kid was an idiot, that he deserved to be jailed, and he was a white supremacist and a racist, blah, blah, blah. And now you've changed that? And on top of that, to claim some sort of moral superiority or at least joy in like, I'm 2 for 2 on these court cases, motherfucker. But first of all, Mr. Consistent is never beaten. So why do you think yourself so righteous, so correct in these sorts of things? And why would you cheer the demise of your nation? Because you're a leftist? Well, that is typical of leftists, but you keep claiming that you're, I sit on the fence. I'm an independent. I'm in the middle. But you don't even know your own fucking political system, and I know it better than you do. I could define exactly what kind of political camp you're in, what part of the political spectrum you're on. You could never do so. But you claim to know, and yet you remain a fucking fence sitter? It's like this, it's just so fucking, it's pathetic, man. Especially the day before Thanksgiving. It's so pathetic. You can't stand up. You can't stand up for what you say, or at least just admit that you're just pandering. You claim to be so strong, but you're showing yourself to be so weak. You don't have the guts to address these things. Why? Well, 1, white guilt. Don't know why. Could be due to with your stepfather. Don't know. But also the pandering. The racial pandering needs to fucking end. It's Wednesday night. There's AEW tonight. You'll probably do a video, but your videos have been reducing in length quite substantially. They go from 3 to 4 hours to now about an hour and a half. But, and you're willing to talk about the SJW-ness of AEW, which there's quite a fair bit. But that's fake fighting. It's wrestling. It's fun. It's a distraction. It's not real life, and it's not what's fucking causing 56 people to be run down or 6 of them to fucking be killed by a affirmed black supremacist. Will we ever hear those words out of your mouth, Joe? Will we ever hear you say a black supremacist? I doubt it. We've heard you say white supremacist before. We've heard you call Zimmerman white. I mean, if I ever saw a photo of the guy, I'd say, Zimmerman. Sounds like he's an accountant or perhaps a lawyer or maybe a media mogul. That's what I would have thought with Zimmerman. If I had seen his face without seeing his name, I'd be like, he probably runs a taqueria or something. I mean, maybe, I don't know, has a Cuban sandwich shop. No. You're willing to jump on anything to make yourself look like not only a victim, but a protector, like a civil rights, like that. Actually, I have to say that. That's what you try to portray yourself as, some sort of civil rights activist. And you have no idea about MLK Jr., for example. And I remember when I tried to bring this up, and you're like, whoa, huh? Fucking being witness to a woman being raped by your friends and basically just sitting by and laughing, because that's what he did. It's documented. He laughed. Plagiarizing speeches, assaulting people. You claim this guy is your great hero, but, well, if you've ever looked into Malcolm X, that was a guy who, despite his extremist views, I have much more respect for. He never plagiarized his work once. He had the guts to talk to just about anybody. He called out his own community for siding with white liberals so that they could just be used as fucking clowns and puppets. Despite his extremist stance. That's the thing. I'm not scared of extremists, or at least those that are different from what is the norm. But it's only the norm now. It wasn't the norm in the past. It's not going to be the norm in the future. It all changes. So I'm not scared about discussing topics or political philosophy that are unpopular, that might push the limits. But that's just me. That just shows courage. That just shows knowledge. And it shows an unwillingness to bend. Especially to the opinions of others. My emotions aren't affected by somebody saying, "Oh, Dave Rose this, No, it's like, okay, but can you disprove any of my points? Well, that's not the point. Well, that is the point, actually. If you can't do that, fuck off, because I have no interest in discussing it. If you do, let's go at it. Let's have a nice, good discussion. And maybe in the end, we come out saying we agree to disagree. But hey, showing that we had the guts to talk to each other on a topic that some people find difficult to discuss, and yet we had the courage to discuss it openly, honestly, and even get to the point where we're like, well, I guess we're never going to come to an agreement. So I guess this is where it ends. Have we seen that from Joe? We have not. We have not. So I'm going to end this poll now. It's been going for 10 minutes. We got 22 viewers, 22 votes in, so I guess that's good enough. And what do we got here? We have the majority of people who voted. Wait till it shows up for me here, please. But we have the majority of people who voted. 86% that say that Dave Rose will need to slap a bitch. So I think this is going to be something that occurs on Friday night. So let's see if we can set it up so that maybe I call Joe's show, and I don't know how we're going to do this. How I'm going to call Joe with having Ken and them on the line. But yeah, we can try that. Or what I could just do is hang up the call once Monetize This starts, go into the Discord, raise hell, and once I get featured, I'm on Monetize This. Ken can sort of multi-stream it, multicast it, whatever. And we can hear my reaction to him of me walking into the Lion's Cave to face off against those that would love to have my blood. But we'll see, I guess. I mean, Joe Cronin just might not take my call. I mean, he ignored Tony's call for 3 hours, knowing that he was there. It's a good chance he might try to do the same. I just don't understand why, despite him claiming that he is, he's hard as fuck, he's fucking real as fuck, that he can talk all this shit, but why? I mean, shit, we heard him talk with with Ken on Wire's show. Why isn't he talking to me? Why doesn't he have the guts to talk to me? Why doesn't he have the willingness to talk to me? Like, that's the thing, though. Let's just be honest. If you're so righteous and so confident in your stance, you'd be biting at the chip to fucking call in and just fucking prove me wrong and make me look stupid and fucking like a racist and a fucking bigot, and the list goes on, and yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, it's like a cakewalk, right? If I was that stupid, if I was that dumb, if I was that incapable, I mean, I'd have like 20 callers right now trying to call in right now to fucking do this. So, Joe, can we talk? Can you address these sorts of things? Are you willing to? I mean, you're willing to throw a jab here and there, but are you willing to at least settle things? Why is it that you're not willing to? What is it that you think that you're going to lose or be exposed for? Am I correct? Is this the reason why? Because this is what I'm starting to think. That you actually think or believe or know that I am correct. That if you were to try to call in, that I would destroy you. So, or prove my points correct again. White guilt and the pandering. Is that why you're not calling in? Is this an admission of guilt? Is this an admission of guilt that you're basically acknowledging, yeah, Dave Rose is right, and that's why I could never call into his show? Because I'd be absolutely destroyed, and that would actually make me look bad in front of all the audience that I've radicalized? These are questions that I do ask myself, because the guy who puts on so much confidence on his shows, this also with his videos, like his outrage against all this racial problems and shit, you can't call in here. You can't fucking, address me on these things. It's unfortunate, but hey, I mean, we're going to have to see a change from you, Joe. Either you stop covering this shit, or I'm going to have to keep fucking destroying you. Because it's unacceptable that you radicalize people and that you pander to people and yet have white guilt. It's too conflicting. It doesn't make sense at all. And you need to resolve these problems that you're clearly having. Because you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have blacks as your pet, your little Democrat pets, but also try to, espouse how they've got to be freed and get off the plantation. You can't have it both ways, Joe. You can't. So, I guess we're coming to a close here because nobody's calling in, despite the fact that you had ample opportunity to do so. Very disappointing, poor form. I'll give everyone maybe another 5 minutes to go as I wind down the show. But I think I did a good job, I think. I mean, 2 hours, longer than the last one. Last one, I think, was 1 hour 45. Talked about the stories, gave my opinion unrepentantly, provided evidence. I could provide so much more if we wanted to. But let's just be honest. Most people are too scared to talk about this topic. Or both of these topics, I should say. That's just a fact. Now, I've got many, many more documents that'll prove. I mean, I could show the entire Arbery rap sheet. I gave Drew the rap sheet of the terrorist the other day, and it's a fucking long one as well. So, I mean, I could do that. We could cover, I don't know, the mental health reports on Arbery. There's a lot of stuff that we could cover, but I think I did a good job, sort of covering things in a nice, superficial level. Not too deep, but just enough to cover the surface. Hence, superficial. Remember, I use my words correctly. Just because they've been twisted by society doesn't mean I don't know actual proper Queen's English. God save the Queen. No, fuck her lizard ass. Rumor has it she's a lizard. Who knows? We'll never know. I don't think she's going to pop out in a gala, looking like a fucking lizard. But okay, I guess we're done. Surprisingly enough, we went from 30 some odd thumbs down to 10 thumbs down, and we're leading with 15 thumbs up. That's kind of cool. Enjoy your time while the thumbs down button lasts, guys, because it's not going to last much longer. You can blame Biden for that, just like every fucking thing else. You can blame Biden for the thumbs down being removed. But yeah, I guess we're gonna wrap up with me saying that I'm very disappointed in Joe Cronin. Maybe he's working, maybe he's not, but the tweets themselves are so evident of what I've been saying for years, people, for years. Why am I being doubted when I've been saying this for years? And this guy still doesn't have the guts to fucking address this stuff. But he continues to fucking radicalize people. He has to be held accountable for his actions. And he has to come out and admit that this is what he's doing. Or at least go into some, psychotherapy or something. Because nobody normal does this. Nobody. And you don't know the law, Joe. You don't know the law. The tweets that I've read out today were just so fucking sad. I'm more positive about America today, despite yesterday I was shitting on America saying this country sucks. I want to fucking nuke the world. You have no knowledge on the law, dude. And then you want to say, oh, it's easy to know. You just have to look at the evidence. Sure as fuck weren't doing that for the last year, were you? Fucking, it's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. And I can't stand this shit because I've experienced the radicalization that you've caused on other people that's been attacked to me. Because you get all these fucking idiots thinking fantasies, and when I come out and fucking say facts, they attack me. So, on that note, we're going to end the show. Joe Cronin, you remain a coward until you prove yourself otherwise, and it is unfortunate that I do have to call you that, but until you show me otherwise, I can't take anything but that, because you're not standing up. I've done this before. I called into your show and had 5-10 people attack me, but you can't do one-on-one. It's clear. Your agenda is transparent. It's clear, and you have to be held accountable for this. You have to come up and. I know that you have rejected your savior, and being the limited intellectual leftist that you are, you hate God and anything good, but you have to come back to God, Joe. You have to come back to God. You have to fucking repent for your evil liberal acts. Perhaps spray some holy water on your wife, and that would probably burn her. But you've got to come back to God, Joe. You got to understand that what happened to your father wasn't what's construed in your mind. You think it's some sort of vengeance from God, and that's not what it is. But because of that instance, and because you were associated with Christianity, now all Christianity is bad. Still waiting for you to talk about how in the Talmud it's perfectly fine for Jews to rape girls or little babies that are under 3 years of age. I've yet to hear you talk about that. I've yet to hear you talk about how Islam has no problem with throwing gays off roofs. Let's welcome Latino Heat.
What's up?
Well,
Listen, I don't know.
I'm lambasting Joe on his hypocrisies. How about you?
No, there's always fun to do that, especially when it's true.
No, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because he keeps tweeting. And if
Is
I
he
gotta
celebrating?
keep fucking destroying him,
Is he celebrating the case today? Is he celebrating that and saying how justice is, served and all that shit? Or
Yep, basically.
go figure. Yeah, what Rittenhouse? Rittenhouse, contact me, bro. We'll go ahead and we'll get a lawsuit going, motherfucker. Flip-flopping prick. I swear. No, but you know, you know how it works. The liberals, when the evidence goes against their fucking propaganda, their agenda, it doesn't exist. It's not real. So of course they don't acknowledge, evidence when it disproves their theories. It's just bullshit. I mean, look at CNN and MSNBC. That with this freaking guy that ran over all those people, if I would have seen 15 minutes of them mentioning it, I'd be surprised, because I really don't think they've really mentioned it.
The issue is
And if
that
they did,
Joe continues to radicalize people. I've got evidence from fucking the last 5 years. Because I
but
was
you know
there.
why he is the way he is, right? I think
Well,
he
it's a
is
combination.
of.
What? Okay, you tell me
Well,
your theory.
My theory is the way he is on here, on Twitter and all that other social media shit. The reason why he's doing that is because he figures that the what's the word? Not heuristics. The thing that determines if you get higher up in the rankings as far as like on YouTube, so you'll be exposed more for people. You know, you'll be
Analytics?
recommended more. The analytics. He believes, I bet you, that if he leans towards the libtard point of view and he does shit like that, that the analytics are going to go ahead in his
No,
favor.
I disagree. I've always seen this. Here's my theory, and I think people. Actually, I'm gonna have to prepare a poll for that. I'm gonna say, is Rose's theory correct? So before I place that, let me explain the theory. So Joe Cronin adopted, single or only child. Okay, only child. Now, anecdotally, I haven't done statistical research on this, but anecdotally, my experience with the exact same type of individual has proven that they are ultra entitled. Ultra entitled. So, without any siblings, they're getting fucking mountains of gifts every year. For everything. And adopted, this is again, a family that cannot have their own child. So they are, extremely happy at the fact that they have a child. So they're going to further, gift them, if you want to call it that. Regale them. That's the word I was looking for. Regale
Hasn't
them.
he said though? Didn't he say he came from a poor family though? The ones that adopted him, that they were poor. So I mean,
No, his
how many
father.
gifts
His
did they
father
give
worked
him?
for Boston Dynamics. His father was an instructor at a university. This guy worked with robots and shit.
Yeah, but he
Chances are
died
some of
when
his
Joe was
work,
young.
worked on those fucking robots that are working now. So that, like, he and his father obviously had good insurance and so forth. So, when he passed away, they had some money available. But then what happened? Okay, so first of all, New Hampshire, growing up, entitled, super entitled, not privileged. Okay, so don't give me this shit, white privilege. Go fuck yourself. Tell me about fucking LeBron's kids again. Go fuck yourself. So he didn't grow up privileged. He grew up entitled because of being a adopted only child. Sorry, these are facts. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that what happens is these kids get spoiled, get everything they fucking want. So, unfortunately, his father passes away, and he moves to Massachusetts, where his mother hooks up with this guy who's extremely abusive, and on top of that, extremely anti-black. So Joe Cronin, and remember, growing up in that really sort of sheltered location in New Hampshire, Joe believing whatever the fucking media wants him to believe and all that, we're all great and happy, we all love each other equally, blah, 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 blah. Moves to Boston, his his mother's boyfriend hates hates rap music, so he'll bust into Joe's room while he's listening to music and just say N-word this and that, and like, how could you be listening to this shit, blah, blah, blah. And you know, he's done other did other things in that related nature. So there was this whole, probably was a reactionary stance by Joe, which was like, oh, this guy who I hate so much, this guy who treats me so poorly, this guy who treats my mother so poorly, this guy hates black people. You know what? I absolutely love black people so much so that I'm going to suck black cock. It's psychological, let's be honest, but this is what it is. So rather than a rational response to like, well, I still like rap music, but like, I'm not going to let this guy influence me. It's more like, oh, you hate that? Well, now I love it. That is obviously the response of a child. And we know that Joe still hasn't grown up yet. So this feeds into what I'm saying is my theory. It's actually my thesis, because if I wrote a dissertation on this, it'd be proven correct and I'd get a fucking doctorate. So this then causes Joe to become much more into hip hop, and he starts dating black girls. And he continued to experience racism. There was an instance where he went to Mardi Gras, and he somehow wandered away from his mother and stepfather, and bumped into some black guy who said, "You're going down the wrong street, white boy," or some shit like that. And that sort of like shocked him and stuff. But he still sort of forgave it, like, oh well, I guess I was wrong and stuff like that. What? So New Orleans never had white people living there? It's can't be that it's based on a French word, right? And that the French had the Louisiana Purchase, right? No, it's just, oh, I guess I was in the wrong here. From then on, it just seemed to be that, and then he had, black girlfriends and all that, and it just seemed to be that his automatic response, and we saw this with many videos that he would make. So some black guy gets shot. Rather than researching or waiting at least a day or two to say, okay, well, what the fuck's going on here? Let's wait for this information to come out. He would just make a video just raging on the cops, not having any idea about what happened. And I think that actually may have happened with a black cop shooting a black guy, and he still did the same thing. Now, he's calmed down in the past, but that's what he started to look like, too much like a hypocrite, I guess, or just stupid. And he sort of diminished that amount of public coverage that he was doing in the past, right? But he continued to maintain his Twitter messages and trying to, again, apart from the little jabs here and there, like, oh, yeah, white people, like anything. He could be on a fucking wrestling show or something, like just a little jab there, to the fact that he's, making these tweets that are based on fallacies and ignoring his past stance on this. Like, I can't agree with him, shitting on me a year ago about me just looking at the live video because I was monitoring it, and say, oh, Dave Rose, you're wrong, or of course you're siding with the white guy, blah, blah, blah. They didn't even know that there's other black people, that there weren't any black people there, or at the, that were shot. It's just Dave Rose being Dave Rose. But now, no admission even that Dave Rose is correct. But hey, Joe was never wrong. It's literally taken out from fucking 1984.
No, and not only that, but befriending Rittenhausen. Oh, come on, buddy, let's go do it. When he was talking all that shit from the get-go. Saying he was a white racist.
That's exactly the thing, is that he reacts emotionally to everything. And as such, when he does these videos, when he tries to make himself look like this great humanitarian, it's always, really more so than anything else, damage control for previous videos. Because he's made statements in the past that if you were to listen back to them today, you'd fucking not just laugh at him, but you'd want blood, because you'd be like, how dare you say this? You had no idea about what was happening then. You reacted emotionally, and you basically added fuel to the fire, especially because, his audience, being mostly wrestling viewers, a big portion of them, not all of them, are fucking mentally retarded beyond salvation. And as such, they believe whatever the fuck they're fucking told. You tell them, Hulk Hogan really, knocks somebody out with his leg drop, and they'll believe it. So they're easily influenced and manipulated. And he utilizes this to build up support and interest in him. Like, he's the good guy. He's the one who's coming out and calling this shit out. And if somebody goes anywhere beyond the narrative that he's pushing, no, Dave, you're a racist, and, you don't know what you're talking about, and of course you were going to say that. You're a Trump supporter, but no, but hold on, you can't say that because I can criticize him better than you can. Oh no, but Dave, you're just a fucking conservative. But hold on, what about my social leanings and stuff, and what about my political, sort of plan? I guess if I was ever given a platform, like, he ignores that shit.
When you were mentioning earlier about Joe and the abusive boyfriend, I was thinking that there were probably situations where that guy was confronting Joe, saying, I don't want to hear this end music, and how can you listen to that shit, and blah, blah, blah. And that Joe probably attempted to respond or retort, if I may, to what he was saying. And the guy just shut him down, either by maybe smacking him in the face or something, or just out yelling him and terrifying him. And that could probably, besides his own ignorance, because he's not very well educated, that could very well be a pretty good amount of why he doesn't know how to debate. Because he probably ran into that situation, or had that situation happen to him, where he tried to say stuff and could never get anything out. So being that his voice was retarded in that way because of the fact that he suffered either abuse physically or otherwise from trying to respond. Maybe that's why, like I said, and the ignorance.
No, he
doesn't know how to
Dude,
debate.
he's publicly proclaimed that he doesn't like to read.
Well, I said he's ignorant too.
No, but
because that's ignorance.
Yeah, but he knows what he's doing, and yeah, I have to disagree with you.
You don't think that might be part of it, besides the ignorance that he, has, and that his inherent ignorance is that there's a possibility that he doesn't know how to because he never got a chance to?
No,
really
I disagree with that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that he never got a chance to. I've seen him put up arguments with other people in the past, so it's not like he's shy from
to go against somebody like you, who he finds intimidating. That's what I'm saying. That guy was probably intimidating to him as well. So
no, he's had debates with Tommy C, for example, which he found intimidating. With Ken, no, I can't agree with that.
Well, he sure as fuck don't want to mess with you. So there's something going on there. He must be overly intimidated by you.
Well,
then.
Remember, Ken was asked to be on episode 300 of Monetize This, and he was contacted directly, but I wasn't.
Yeah, he probably knew you were going to go ahead and confront him.
That says a lot. I think that says everything that needs to be said. I worked with him much longer than Ken did. I provided, I think, much more than Ken did. That's not to take away from Ken. His corrupted stuff obviously was a staple. It made corrupted. But, with the wrestling interviews that I did, the wrestling content that I reviewed, the live shows that I was participating in, the, Monetize This and all that shit.
You did a lot with that show. Yeah, there's no arguing.
The Final Frontier News. The list goes on. The amount of work that I did for Joe can't be measured even for the amount of work I did for myself. Like, yeah, you could go check out a bunch of videos on my channel. Guess what? I still did more work for Joe Cronin.
But you understand why he went with Ken. Because Ken is very forgiving, and he knows that. And he figured maybe he'll come on and there won't be any kind of confrontation between the two of us, and I can get some money because I have him on my show. Whereas you, he's probably like, fuck, if I even mention, hey, would you want to come on, I'm fucked. Because I know what's gonna happen as soon as Dave Rose gets on.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't believe that, actually.
You wouldn't have
'Cause-
confronted him if you would have went on?
It depends on how he would act because, depends on how he would approach me as well. It's just like, hey, it's episode 300. You want to call in for a bit? Please no race stuff. The point is more so is that he didn't contact me. The point is that he didn't contact me. He claimed, oh, well, the invitation was sent out to everybody. I make a video. I don't even know if these people watched it, my former co-hosts and stuff, and that includes Dead on Dave, Tommy C, Chris Tosevich, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know if they saw it, but I put the message out. So if they didn't respond, then that's on them. But yet that's disproved because he contacted Joe
directly.
He contacted Ken directly.
Yep.
See how that works, people? What we have here is failure to communicate. Literally.
Or a failure to lie yet again. But yeah, no, Ken said so. He said he was contacted directly by him. I think he said by DMs or some shit. So yeah, that disproves that for sure. The whole fucking video was for everybody. Get the fuck out of here. I'm sure he contacted everybody directly but you. He probably, if he had a choice between you and Skunty, he probably would have freaking went with Skunty.
Well, yeah, we've seen some of that in the past, where he continued to keep him around when it was only detrimental to him. But because, as it goes, if somebody's on the outs with this side of the pond, Joe scoops them up.
You know what'd be interesting? If you did want to confront him and call in on a show, if somebody were to go ahead and say, I will give you $1,000 or $2,000 to put him on and not to fucking interrupt him. As far as, having 10 people attacking you or whatever, just you and him to debate. If that's what Rose wants to do, I'll give you a set amount of money if you agree to do it. But it's got to be you and nobody else can get involved. You think he'd take it? If there's a sizable amount of money involved in it?
That's a good question. In the short run, he'd probably take it, but in the long run, he'd be like, I'd piss off too many black donators and Latino donators, so I don't want to do that. So I kind of think that he'd probably still turn it down, despite it being very tempting to him. He'd probably turn it down because he'd think in the long run, yeah, that's going to harm me. That's how he thinks. It's about benefit to himself. And there's been so many times where I've gone on to shows and, I knew what I was facing. I knew that I was going to be sabotaged or that I was going to be pounced on or, just a group of people will just start to hound me, we've seen this in the past with Dave Rose on Joe's show. It's just like 6 different people, each asking me a question at the same time. And as I try to address one, 5 others scream at me for not addressing their question.
Yeah, trying to drown you out.
Well, not only drown me out, but also make it sound like I'm not trying to address them. And, obviously understanding that I don't have 6 mouths, so I can't answer them all at once. But it's on purpose. It is a mob tactic, as leftists use. But I am indestructible when it comes to leftist tactics. I am the number one anti-commie on the planet.
Look what Drew typed in chat about open invitation.
So Joe says that everyone is invited to monetize this. He didn't kick them all. He didn't kick them all. They left. So that sounds like an open invite, Dave. Yeah, he can say a lot of different things that, aren't necessarily true. But, until the biggest proof is the fact that he contacted Ken first, or only contacted Ken, I should say, and didn't contact me. Yeah, that should be the biggest evidence ever.
Let my ass know when you're gonna call in. That'll be the one time I'll actually tune into Joe Cronin's show.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I would prefer if he just had the guts to call in and confront me, but if I've got to, I don't know, if I've got to call in to monetize this and face off against 10 people who want to yell at me, and I can make them look like a bunch of fools, then I guess that's what we will do.
It'll be interesting. I look forward to it if you do it, man.
Therefore, the third says, I remember those times. Everyone would pile on DER. That is correct.
Yeah, I remember.
But
I remember. He wouldn't let you get a word in more often than not.
And there'd be rarely a time that I'd even yell. It would be more disappointed sign, I guess, in addressing
They'd
people.
be the ones yelling at you, and you're the one that stayed calm.
Yep. And that's actually something that's pissed Joe off in the past. And, there's that that video that was on Ken's show where Joe called in and I was on there. And he was freaking out and I was remaining perfectly calm. That's just my demeanor. I mean,
I noticed that shit too. When you do that, when you just stay like monotone or whatever, you don't show an emotion, it pisses them off. Whatever the fuck you're dealing with, it sets them off because they're like wanting to engage you in a yelling contest and you don't fucking bite and it pisses them off, man.
If I get emotional, you gotta get emotional too.
Oh, I love those moments.
Well, it's good replay value. In fact, I think once I end this, I'm actually going to go and listen to that video, the Ken video here. Actually, in fact, I think this is how it works. If you type in devious, not Davius, idiot, devious Dave Rose. Let's do this. You type in devious Dave Rose into Google. You get my channel. You get my live stream, a drama club. Something from Mayhem Championship Wrestling, which I did promos for that. Those were kind of funny. And the fourth one down, people. No, the fifth one down. Fourth channel down. Fifth item down. Is Joe Cronin, Devious Dave Rose, Insomniac, episode 5. Episode 5, people.
And 5.
Quite some time ago. I'll put the link in the chat right there for all you sexy people. Jared for the Third says, DRP tonight? Anyone know? I believe that is... No, that's tomorrow, dude. Dirty Rotten Podcast Thursday night. Today's Wednesday. So, and we got No Hard Feelings last night. Ken I know is busy with Thanksgiving stuff, but he did mention he may do something. It's doubtful.
He said he was going to get on tonight.
What's that?
And just drinking and stuff. He said that he was going to get on tonight and a bunch of people with him.
When did you hear that?
His podcast that he had late last night. He came back on.
Well, last night and this morning are two different things, and I speak to Ken, consistently. So from what I'm telling you, there's no guarantee. It may be off, but you never know with Ken because last night he does No Hard Feelings, and then he's like, let's do a converted. So you can't count him out, but I know for a fact right now that household is like a flurry of activity for Thanksgiving. I've been seeing some of the images. They're going to share them probably on Friday Night Fire, or maybe tomorrow if Ken does a stream. But yeah, that household knows how to cook. You got some good-looking dishes, so they're busy with that. But if Ken does go live, well, that'd be awesome. I'd love to hear him. But right now, to my knowledge, there's nothing guaranteed. So,
let me ask you this: what do you think of people when they have parties or get-togethers, dinner, or whatever, that have to fucking live stream their eating? What do you think about people that
I don't know of anybody that does that.
There's social media people that do that shit, dude. I think it's so fucking...
I don't watch them, so I would not know. I mean, I certainly
No, but would you feel that's annoying? Or what would you think about it? What do you think about somebody that does that?
There are very, very lonely people out there on the internet, so maybe it'll help them feel a sense of belonging if they eat their meal in front of a fucking video that has other people eating. Not going to judge in that respect. I'd rather watch people cooking
Yeah, that's what I would
than
rather
actually just partake in a virtual meal. But hey, these are tough times, and people are lonely. And if that's what makes them feel better, watching, like participating in a virtual meal with people they don't know over the internet, watching a screen, you're not hurting anybody. It's none of my business.
I don't know. Like me, I can't take pictures of my food when I cook something. It's like,
Oh, I constantly take photos of my food and show them off Instagram because I'm that sexy. But I'm not like obsessed with the stuff. It's just like I made a good meal. And sometimes I make great meals. I'm like, no, I'm too tired, or I want to fucking eat. I don't want to fucking take a moment to take photos of this shit. So, from time to time I'll post stuff on Instagram, but certainly not an obsession of mine as it is with many other people. These influencers,
food bloggers.
as they call them.
The food bloggers.
Yeah, whatever you want to call them. That's not me.
Yeah, me, I cook and I want to eat. That's it. I don't want to fuck around and like frame it. Take 20 minutes to frame the damn thing.
Well, if you're
take a
good, it
picture.
won't take that long. But also, you're not going to eat your steak as soon as you make it. So as it rests, you have the opportunity to take a photo. So you have to plan your food properly.
You eat a lot of meat?
I try to.
I mean, beef, like you're beef heavy as far as food wise, or?
It is my favorite type of meat, but prices have exploded up here in Canada. I'd have to say they've increased by... okay, if we're going to take strip loin steak as the standard, 100%. Prices have increased 100%.
I saw a pork shoulder for $52.
Oh my God.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, everything is exploding in price up here. Everything.
Me, I'm more of a chicken person, and then fish. I'll eat beef, but I don't know. As at my age right now, it's like I'm more into chicken and fish.
It's not filling enough for me. It's too light.
Well, let's see how your diet is when you get about to my age. Might change.
10 years? That's not too bad, I guess.
10 years to enjoy beef.
And it's funny. I think it was in England. They did a poll, and they're like, they asked men, "Would you prefer to live longer or eat meat?" I think it was like,
And I'm sure they said meat.
well, I think it was 90 something, but they chose to eat meat. Like that's who men prefer to eat meat. That's just who we are. But
There's a lot of women that like meat too. They just don't admit it as much. I know a lot of women that are freaking big steak eaters.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. With me, as far as meat, I like meatloaf and meatballs and a good and pork. But like steaks, that's like to the bottom for me.
Oh man, I could eat steak every single day. Every single day. And I don't know, I haven't had the craving for pork in a while. Recently 3 weeks ago, I had a rack of ribs. But I used to be really big into pork chops and brining them and stuff, but I just haven't had the the desire to do so. Let's welcome our newest caller, Casey's Raw.
Hey, what's up, Dave? How's it going?
No, I'm doing okay.
Hey, I just had an idea listening about, about you cooking your food and taking pictures. If you're going out and you're going to want to, be a food critic, you know how people are like, I give it 3 out of 5 stars. So I have an idea. You reverse that, and if it's bad, it's like I give it 5 bullfrogs out of 5. And if it's good, you say I give it 0 bullfrogs out of 5.
No, if it's good, you give it Tommy's because Tommy has no neck now because of all the eating he does.
Oh. Well, I mean, granted, I had to at least give him props for, he was working out and on the diet, but I guess it was the pandemic that.
I don't think so. I think he just got tired of it and lazy, and food won. I think he just lost the battle with food.
I can't say much. I never.
Yeah, but Casey, you're not fluctuating. You didn't do the whole. I lost a whole bunch of weight, and now I just shot the fuck up, probably 200 pounds past what I was, like he did. He looks like he's hitting 400. I'm not even shitting. He looks like he's about 400 pounds.
Who?
I think
Tommy.
I think
he's probably similar to Bullfrog's weight, but maybe a little more. Bullfrog says he's 245 at 5'4".
Bullfrog's
there's no way Bullfrog's 245.
Bullfrog is lying. He's 300 at least.
You think? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That guy's.
I'd say
least.
Tommy's close to that. I'd say Tommy's close to 300, maybe 265.
You don't think he's way bigger than Bullfrog?
You
don't think
I think that there's more mass with Bullfrog. He's shorter. It's more compact. I think that Tommy still is lighter than Bullfrog. I could be wrong.
Oh,
I don't know. I just remember he used to have a chin. He used to have somewhat of a neck. Now he's just got a head.
It's unfortunate. I've seen that, and I've pointed it out as well.
I think he's back to his normal weight. I mean, I don't think he's more heavier than he was before the diet. So, I mean,
he's definitely, because he used to have a neck then. Still, he didn't have the neck attached to his chin, where it's now now it's just one fucking blob. There's no definition. There's no chin. There's no separation. It's just his whole neck, head and neck. That's it. And I was proud of the kid when he was, when he lost that weight, he was actually doing shit. I was like, damn, he's coming along, But like I said, I guess the food fucking went over.
It was unfortunate, yes.
I think it was two things. I think it was partially the pandemic closing all those gyms. And then two, he was heavily affected from his dad dying, so...
That could be, yep. And for fat guys, eating is a comfort thing. So, that could have just been like he just gave up and just started to mow down on whatever made him happy.
I'm sure you'll agree with me, Dave. Best movie about that is Fatso. Dom DeLuise. No? Oh my God, dude, you got to see that movie with Dom DeLuise.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
That movie was awesome. You will definitely freaking admire what Dom DeLuise did in that movie. That was a hell of a good movie about that. The battle, to lose weight or basically die from overeating. Yeah.
Never heard of it at all.
It's called Fatso.
Huh. Is that an old movie or is that?
Yes. I think it was like 78 or something like that. Might be wrong, but it's an old movie, yeah. Dom DeLuise was still fairly young when he did that movie. But it was a great movie because it's funny. There's they do the whole lightheartedness about it, but then they get to the serious dark side where he's got like his fucking refrigerator is locked and he's trying to figure out how to break into the refrigerator so he can eat. And just seeing him do that shit. You would think you would laugh about that, but when you see it, it's like, man, this guy's fucking lost. He's gone. And it's just, the range of emotions that movie provides. It's like I said, you will definitely admire that movie. You will like that movie. I think he got an Academy Award for that shit. Or the movie did. That's how good it was.
Did you guys hear about this Xbox Series X mini fridge? It looks like...
No.
Scalpers.
It looked like the recent Xbox, but instead of the console, it's an actual mini fridge.
I'm surprised you didn't snatch up one
sounds
as much
dumb.
as you like video games.
I kind of think it's badass. I'd be like,
Of course you would.
I think you hide it and like, hey, you want a drink? And you have all these systems, and it's like, go to that Xbox Series X and open the side of it.
Or
It's like,
you could just have a regular fridge and not be a fag.
For like 40-something bucks from Walmart, and it's just as cold as anything else. Yeah. You can like paper or wallpaper it with Xbox stuff and make it look like an Xbox. Save yourself some money. Them things are going for like $1,000 each, I think, from them directly, I think it was.
yeah.
And then the scalpers were charging like freaking 10,000. It's ridiculous the way. Oh, rumor has it, and it got out. So I don't know what kind of damage control that Walmart did, but that Walmart was getting PS5s, and that they were going to go ahead and themselves and basically be like scalping them themselves. In other words, you know how you have to get tickets for Black Friday and shit, like you're in line and there's only so many? That they were going to go ahead and have people bid for the fucking tickets.
Wow. That can't be legal.
And they got out that they were doing that shit.
That can't be legal. I mean,
It's not legal. It's not legal, but what the fuck you're going to do? Walmart can do whatever the hell they want, pretty much. The only ones that can do anything is Sony, and Sony's not going to do shit because as long as they get their money, they don't give a damn.
True. That's why right now the PS5, they don't have anything that I need to have immediately. I mean, that's why I'm okay with my PS4 Pro.
I always tell people when there's a next-gen machine coming out, do not get it the first year. Hold off the fucking temptation. If you want to get the games, but hold off on the temptation of buying that shit, because more often than not, they're going to be 500 freaking megabyte storage, and if you wait, they'll have the 1 terabytes the next year, maybe even a 2 terabyte one. Just freaking wait. Why you have to be so damn desperate just to get it? So you can be like the kid on the block that's the first to get the fucking thing? Let them work out the kinks and let them improve on it.
Well, that's pretty racist saying that. I mean, you can't say that about the Jews.
What the hell say about Jews?
I was just fucking with you. But
I'm the least racist person.
He's not very
Except
good
when
at
it comes
jokes.
to ignorance. Except when it comes to ignorance, though, because I'm very prejudiced against ignorant people. So if you want to call me a racist when it comes to those people, yeah, I'm mega racist. Can't stand ignorant people.
I'm just making a joke, but
No, that's fine. I just don't get it, but that's fine. I honestly don't get the
word.
All right, relax.
But
yeah, any final comments here? Because we're gonna wrap it up. Gotta make myself some dinner.
Yeah, I need to go eat too. So, what are you gonna do for Thanksgiving? Oh, actually, I assume you don't celebrate our Thanksgiving
You're
then?
Canadian? Because he's Canadian, is that what you're trying to insinuate?
Yeah.
Yeah, because
just
we celebrate in October.
Yeah, I just forgot about that.
As much as Dave admires America, you don't think maybe he'd do a second Thanksgiving? Come on. I mean, don't assume.
Oh, true. I mean, it's possible.
Not with the prices that we are up here right now. So, not gonna happen.
All right, just get yourself like a Cornish game hen or something,
That's for Christmas.
I love Cornish game hens. Oh my God, they're so good.
There.
But yeah, I mean, I hope you get what you want to get, Dave. That you get your shot at Joe. Because like I said, if it happens, I want to be there. That'll be the one time I will actually tune into him.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I would love it.
He's like Neo almost. He's dodging all the bullets, though. He doesn't want to confront me. He runs away. Can't deal with the Agent Smith, Mr. Cronin.
He should make a meme like that, where he's like fucking in his studio doing some kind of gay ass move that he normally does when he spazzes out.
The
And
race
then, and
debate
then
is
splice in the Matrix,
inevitable.
and then splice in the Matrix agents. That'll be funny.
All right, Casey, anything from you?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on. I just want to throw that rating system at you. See if because it'd be something different than what people usually do for a rating system for food and stuff.
All right, well, I'll take it into consideration. All right, guys, thanks for your call. I'm going to hang up on you now and just end the show. So there goes Latino Heat, and Casey is Raw. And yeah, we had some nice little interaction there at the end. Did a good show, I think. Covered quite a lot of stuff. Covered stuff that people like Joe Cronin have the courage to cover, but they're willing to tweet about it. Make themselves look all great and not, put themselves into the crosshairs of potentially a bigoted person, a discriminatory person, a racist, or whatever the fuck. So here I am, fucking willing to deal with any comments that are said. And just go on fact, regardless of people's feelings, as I've always done and always will continue to do, as I am Mr. Consistent. So on that note, I would like to thank every single person that did show up into this chat, whether they are still here or not. Hopefully there will be some streams tonight. That would be nice. I am your host, Devious Dave Rose, the unrepentant, the courageous, and the brave, willing to confront topics that most people refuse to do because they're cowards. Thank you for joining us, and we shall see you next time.